Marvel. The devastation of natural disasters begins. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 3 Female Superman. Tang Feng is going to do something, not simply wanting Tony to become Iron Man, but to use the power of destiny, so that he can better understand destiny. Through Tony becoming Iron Man, his destiny will change greatly, and this change is the food for Tang Feng to understand his destiny, which can accelerate his progression. Fate is complex and changeable. As long as there is a change, even a slight change, it can affect Tang Feng. Just like a profound martial art, if you want to master it and use it freely, you must continue to practice it. Tang Feng did the same. Walking on the street at night with people coming and going, he felt that he was out of step with the people around him and the world, and he couldn't fit in. He is a wanderer who wanders away and can't go home for a while. With a sigh, a loud breaking sound came, and the people beside him screamed and screamed, seeing that a little girl on the zebra crossing was about to be hit by a big truck. The little girl was holding the ball and stood there in a daze, unable to react at all. Tang Feng tilted his head and looked at him with a calm expression on his face. The big truck swerved to the left, and the little girl was frightened and fell backwards, avoiding the front wheel. So, because the big truck slid, she was left lying on the bottom of the middle car, avoiding the rear wheel without any risk. The little girl was fine, but the big truck crashed into the left curb, killing 5 or 6 people along the way, including the truck driver. Fate is really wonderful. Just slightly changing the fate of the girl's death will lead to more serious consequences. If I go back to the rescue, it won't be dead man. But I didn't save them. That's their fate. Tang Feng whispered to himself and walked away. He has been in a deep sleep for thousands of years, and his Xingxing has changed a lot. Playing with the fate of all things in the world has already been done unconsciously during his deep sleep, and he is used to it. What he has now is more divinity, a thought of God. Humanity, the idea of being a human being, is running out. Otherwise, Tony would not be so tough in the future, and there would not have been such a serious car accident before. This is also the sequel for thousands of years. It cannot be changed in a short time. Tang Feng walked aimlessly, just woke up. He didn't know where to go or where to live, and there was no familiar person. Mom, it's okay. I see, I'm going shopping with him. No, absolutely not. Don't you believe it? Well, then I'll let him talk. A long-haired blonde beauty walked beside him, wearing red short sleeves and 8-pointed jeans. She was wearing high heels and was tall. Even if she wore a pair of large black-framed glasses, she couldn't hide her delicate facial features. She didn't have the rough face of a white man at all. She looked worried and was talking on the phone. It just so happened that Tang Feng passed by her, and there was a temperament that ordinary people didn't have, which made her eyes shine. She decided that it was him, handed the phone to Tang Feng's ear and said, "Talk." Tang Feng was absent-minded and didn't pay too much attention to the situation around him. Hearing the words coming from his ear, he couldn't help but let out a soft sigh. "Mom, you heard it. Then I'll hang up." The blonde beauty took back her phone, quickly finished speaking, hung up the phone, then gave Tang Feng a mischievous smile, and was about to leave. And many more. Tang Feng grabbed her arm with one hand. The blonde beauty stopped in time. Knowing that he was very strong and for fear of accidentally hurting someone, she turned around and asked with a frown, "I did something wrong just now. If you are angry, then I apologize." 5. This is our fate and the arrangement of fate. Since you asked me to help you speak, then you can't just leave. Tang Feng looked her up and down and said with a strange expression, "I've already apologized. What do you want?" The blonde beauty was so depressed that she had forced her mother to marry her, but she couldn't stand her mother's constant chatter and was pestering Deadman, so she reluctantly agreed and met the boy she introduced to her. As a result, she didn't look down on the boy at all, so she found a reason to leave in the middle. Unexpectedly, my mother called and asked about the situation. There was no way to deal with the past. What just happened? She didn't expect Tang Feng to be so stingy. and even apologized and cared about it. "You asked me for help just now, then you have to do me a favor. I just have nowhere to go, so I will stay at your house temporarily," Tang Feng said directly. The blonde beauty raised her eyebrows and looked at Tang Feng. She finally knew why Tang Feng was so worried. If she guessed correctly, she must be greedy for her beauty, and wanted to take this opportunity to soak in her. "HMPH, dare to play tricks on me and see how I treat you." She thought about it, nodded with a smile, and said, "Okay, I'm leaving now, keep up, don't get lost." After speaking, she walked away. Tang Feng smiled and followed her. I saw the blonde woman walking faster and faster. In the crowd, she nimbly dodged everyone and quickly passed by, bringing a gust of wind. She seems to be walking, but she runs faster than the average person. It depends on how you keep up. If you lose it, don't blame me for not speaking up. It's you who didn't seize the opportunity. The blonde beauty smiled and looked back. She was immediately stunned. Tang Feng was still following her, keeping a distance of half a meter, no different from the beginning. Impossible. I couldn't believe it. Even if I could keep up with her, it was impossible for her not to notice. You must know that her hearing is very strong, and even within a city, she can hear everything. Besides hearing, other senses are also very strong, so no one should be able to follow her without her noticing. Strangely, she didn't notice Tang Feng's existence before and thought that she had missed him. Maybe I didn't pay much attention to him just now. 55 The blonde beauty was at a loss and could only attribute it to her own negligence. She didn't want to get entangled with Tang Feng, and she also noticed that something happened and needed her help. When she saw an alley in front of her, she quickly walked over and turned towards it. Interesting. 99 Tang Feng also entered the alley, as she expected. The blonde beauty had disappeared. 990. Almost at the same time, there was a bank robbery incident on the east side a few streets away, threatening the bank staff with guns. 3 masked men were robbing, and one was in charge of driving. Hurry up and give me the money." Amidst the screams of the 3 masked men, the staff could only put the money into a canvas bag in fear, and the person squatting next to him held his head in fear. "Mom, Superman's female sister is here." At this moment, among the group of people squatting on the ground, a little boy was pointing at the bank door and shouting happily. Everyone heard it and immediately turned to look. At the door of the bank, a female Superman appeared floating in the air. She was wearing a battle uniform similar to Superman's, but the letter before Moon Hungarian was not S, but M. It was not a library inside, but a pair of red stockings, which made her legs look straight and slender. Moreover, in Tang Feng's eyes, that beautiful and delicate face was that of the blonde woman with glasses just now. However, in the eyes of others, they were two completely different people. Wearing glasses and not wearing glasses are two people with different identities. This kind of thing is ridiculous, but it is the law of this world. If you don't want to get hurt, just put down your gun and surrender. The female Superman landed and said as she walked towards the 3 robbers. "Damn it! It's a female Superman!" The 3 robbers shouted desperately, and there was a sound of cheering outside the bank gate, and the robbers who drove to meet them were about to escape. Chapter 4 Female Superman and Hanging Hulk. Even the female Superman appeared. "How much did I change during my sleep period?" Tang Feng stood on the roof, looked at the bench below, shook his head and said, "Before," because he noticed the power hidden in the body of the blonde beauty with glasses. He was curious and had nowhere to go, so he thought of finding a reason to trust her. Now that he knows that she is a female Superman, Tang Feng's interest has greatly increased. Staying by the side of the female Superman, there must be a lot of trouble. It will not be so boring anymore. He can also use the power of destiny to cause some accidents, so that he can better understand destiny and speed up the progression. This is a great feat. You can become a female Superman, and wearing glasses is the law of different identities, which is influenced by me. So, I have helped you a lot, so you should return it to me. Tang Feng smiled slightly, said softly, and looked at the female Superman seriously. He had already seen the past that belonged to her through his destiny. With just a cursory glance, he had a general understanding of her. The female Superman is a human on this planet, but she has a super ability since she was a child, and she can strengthen her body by absorbing sunlight. As she grows older and absorbs more and more sunlight, the female Superman will become stronger and stronger. Super strength, super speed, super defense, super hearing, super brain, heat ray, freezing breath. These abilities are all the same. This configuration is exactly the same as the power configuration of the original Superman. The difference is that the female Superman is not Kryptonian, so she does not have the weakness of kryptonite. Another point is that the female Superman attracts sunlight and can form a kind of life energy magnetic field, so there is also a means to resist magic energy, but it is not that there is no resistance to magic power. Therefore, the female Superman is more perfect than the genuine Superman, and the potential is not much worse. As long as she can grow normally, she can continue to become stronger. And she is only 19 years old now. She has just been a freshman and already has a 4th level combat power. Super speed allows her to have a speed faster than Quicksilver, and she can run a dozen times the speed of sound at will. Super strength can also give her a strength similar to that of Hulk, and her defense is equally strong. If Hulk is at the same level as a female Superman, he will not be an opponent, unless Hulk can maintain anger and increase his strength. Tang Feng thought about it. He didn't know what Hulk would be like in this parallel universe. After all, although Hulk is generally strong, some parallel universes will limit Hulk's power. The angrier, the stronger the environment, as if it were the castrated version. In some parallel universes, there is no limit, and Hulk can become stronger with more battles. When anger explodes, let alone Superman, even if he is a true god, he can also explode. A little curious about Hulk in this universe, Tang Feng also looked up at the sky. His eyes were deep, shining with a mysterious light, and he had already found Hulk's fate through the fate of this world. It turns out that I also influenced Hulk. He would have been restricted, but because I changed his fate, it was easy for him to increase his strength when he was angry. Usually, it is a level 4 combat power. When he is angry, he will gradually become stronger. If anger explodes, he can break through level 4 and have level 5 combat power. Oh, and level 5 is not Hulk's limit either. Because of Tang Feng's influence, he is the true god of level 6, so in theory, Hulk's anger becomes stronger and can reach level 6, which is the limit that Tang Feng can influence. However, Hulk can theoretically have level 6 combat power, but it is difficult. It is only possible because of Tang Feng's influence. In fact, if Tang Feng had not affected Hulk's fate, in this universe, Hulk's life, the strongest peak would be level 5. One thing I have to mention, Tang Feng does not like the states of 4-armed Hulk, Red Hulk, and Grey Hulk. Under the influence of his sleeping unconscious, no matter how strong the Hulk becomes in this universe, he will always be in the state of the Wild Hulk. It's just that with the increase in strength, the Wild Hulk's body will become a little bigger. Hey, it's been half a year since the Hulk was born. Not long after he was born, because of a destruction in the city, he attracted the female Superman. As a result, the Hulk was brutally beaten at first, and then when he got angry, he broke through the 4th level and obtained the 5th level of combat power, and defeated the female Superman with a few punches. It turns out that the female Superman has already had a fiasco. Tang Feng raised his eyebrows and muttered to himself unexpectedly. Before he didn't carefully check the female Superman's past, he really didn't know. After all, the female Superman is already 19 years old and has a lot of past experiences, so she won't have the patience to read it carefully, and she is not a voyeur. It has only been half a year since the Hulk was born. Even if Tang Feng took a cursory glance, he could easily find out about the battle between Hulk and the female Superman. Vertical bar. So, in my subconscious, it is the stage where Hulk's anger becomes stronger, which is more open than Superman. The reason why Tang Feng said this is because the first battle between Hulk and the female Superman, and the result was that Hulk won. A very simple analysis, Hulk and the female Superman are both affected by it. Whoever wins, whoever hangs will be more powerful. There is no doubt that Hulk is better. However, it is not absolute. The female Superman is different from Hulk. It will become stronger as it absorbs more sunlight and over time, and its potential is boundless. Its combat power limit is not limited by Tang Feng. Through the influence of fate, Tang Feng gave the female Superman the ability to absorb sunlight. After that, how strong the female Superman can be depends on herself. Just like the comparison between the straight path and the magic path, the female Superman is the straight path, the strength is gradual, and the journey is very smooth, and there will be no ceiling. Hulk is the magic path. He does not take the ordinary path at all, but climbs straight to the top. Nuo. His anger is getting stronger. The ceiling is Tang Feng. As strong as Tang Feng can be, Hulk can be just as strong. In this way, when the female Superman's strength does not surpass Tang Feng, Hulk will never be defeated. The female Superman seems to have no restrictions and has the hope of surpassing Tang Feng, but with the ability to absorb the sun and become stronger step by step. I don't know how long it will take to reach level 6, let alone level 7. By the time the female Superman reaches level 6, Tang Feng may have reached level 7, and maybe by the time Tang Feng has reached level 8, the female Superman has not reached level 7. Looking at it this way, the female Superman's hope of defeating Hulk is very slim. Just like fishing for the moon in water, it will never change. It is worth mentioning that no matter how strong Hulk and female Superman are, it is impossible to beat Tang Feng. The power that can be given can also be taken back. Fate is controlled by Tang Feng. On this planet, no one can resist him. Chapter 5: The Impotence of the Female Superman. When Tang Feng recovered from his thoughts, the female Superman below had disappeared, and the 4 robbers were definitely caught. Among them, the robber who was driving the car and the one who resisted the most both broke a hand and lay on the ground crying. The law enforcement officers arrived late and caught the 4 robbers in the car. They are talking about the female Superman. The robber was caught again, and I feel that since the appearance of the female Superman, not only has the crime rate in New York City been reduced to the lowest level, but we don't have to go out so frequently. 35 Anyway, every time we come to the scene of a crime, it must be solved by the female Superman first. What do you say? It is our duty to arrest criminals and protect the masses. Even with the help of the female Superman, we cannot slack off. 35 With the help of the female Superman, we have a lot of relief, but the female Superman sometimes hits too hard, not to mention the disabled and the dead. 95 Are you pitying those criminals? When we arrest criminals, we shoot and kill many criminals, so what the female Superman did is nothing. 55 This is different. According to the law, we have the right to kill a criminal when we enforce the law and encounter resistance, but the female Superman is just acting bravely and has no right to kill people. As soon as these words came out, all the law enforcement officers fell silent and did not discuss any further. On the one hand, they are grateful for the female Superman's help, so although many people support the female Superman's heroic behavior, there are also many people who blame the female Superman, blame her for being nosy, and blame her for maiming or dying. That's all. The female Superman is actually a wanted criminal, but she is too special. Except for the law enforcement officers who loathed her, envied her, and wanted her to die, only thinking about arresting her. Most law enforcement officers would not want to arrest her. Well, the current law enforcement chief George Stacy is a very stubborn and righteous person who only acts in accordance with the law. The original Superman is a virgin prostitute, and I have long been unaccustomed to abiding by the rules of not killing people. It seems that the behavior of the female Superman is very different now, but it fits my ideas and should be influenced by me. Influence. Tang Feng shrugged his shoulders and had already come to a conclusion about the character of the female Superman. Because of his influence, the female Superman is biased towards justice, but she will not stick to the rules of not killing. Her current thinking is similar to that of the heroes of the Avengers. She will not kill if she can, but she will not show mercy when she really should. It's time to find her. Tang Feng sees that the female Superman has transformed into a beauty with glasses and was about to return to her rental house, so she disappeared and went to look for her. Obviously, the female Superman did not live in the school, but shared a room with someone outside. The reason why she shares a rental contract is not to get along with any boyfriend, but to make it easier for her to execute justice. I found you, so you live here. As the female Superman waited for the elevator to leave, Tang Feng walked behind her and said, "Is that you? How did you find this place?" The female Superman turned around, stunned on the spot, and asked strangely, "I definitely find it. You are a beautiful student in our school and you are very famous. Many classmates know where you live. I can find out by just asking any classmate." Tang Feng said with a smile, "Our school? You are also in the same school as me?" The female Superman asked in surprise. "That's right, I am a freshman who has just transferred here. My name is Tang Feng, please take care of me in the future." Tang Feng said, and politely extended a hand. At the same time, in the female Superman's school file, Tang Feng's file also appeared without any sense of disobedience. The principal, some teachers, and some students also had some impressions of Tang Feng, a transfer student. "What a coincidence, I didn't expect that you are also from a school. My name is Kayla Kent." The female Superman stretched out her right hand and lightly shook it with Tang Feng, then let go. Tang Feng retracted his hand and said with a chuckle, "Since everyone is from the same school and is not strangers, then you won't renege on what you promised before, right?" In this regard, the female Superman showed an embarrassed face. It stands to reason that Tang Feng has already followed along, and she is also a person from the school. She should do as she says, not renege on her debts. Unless it is shameless, it will be regarded as unsaid. "Actually, I am sharing with someone else, and it happens to be 2 rooms, so there is no place for you. You just transferred to the school. You probably don't want to live on campus, so you came to look for a place to rent, right? I know there are vacant rentals there and I can take you there." The female Superman said with a sigh of relief, thinking that she had found a good reason. "I went out to look for a house to rent. Do you really not have a spare room here? I thought that in my college career, I could share a room with a beautiful woman." Tang Feng pretended to be sorry and said, "Really? It's a real pity. You're a bit late. I've already shared the rent with someone else." The female Superman blinked and said with a smile, if there were no accidents, Tang Feng's idea of living with a female Superman would be impossible. However, whoever called Tang Feng is the god of fate. He can do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants to do, there is really nothing he can't do. The accident happened the next moment. With a ding, the elevator door opened, and the female Superman's roommate, Mary Sue, walked out with a suitcase. As soon as she saw the female Superman, she called her and said, "Kayla, I will take the current man away. My friend got rid of him, so I don't live here anymore. Let him find him." 5. Goodbye. Mary Sue waved and left, leaving her daughter Superman stunned, and her roommate left too suddenly. She and her boyfriend were clearly in love, so how could they say they broke up? The female Superman really can't understand it. "It's just now, your roommate has already left, so I just vacated the room, so I can share the rent with you?" Tang Feng asked with a smile. "Okay." The female Superman came back to her senses and sighed. The roommate had just left and she had a room. It was hard to refuse and there was no reason to refuse, so she had no choice but to nod. Tang Feng showed a triumphant smile, stretched out his right hand, and the gentleman asked the female Superman to move forward towards the elevator, and he followed. "How many floors?" Tang Feng pretended not to know and asked. "The 13th floor." The female Superman replied, "Okay." Tang Feng nodded, clicked the button for the 13th floor, and then clicked the button for the closed door. The elevator door closed and slowly went up. Chapter 6 Tang Feng's Tricks. "Wow, your steak is so good, and everything is delicious. Fantastic, your craftsmanship is so good." The 13th floor, room 1303, is designed with 2 bedrooms, a living room, a kitchen, and a bathroom. There is no restaurant. The dining place is in the small hall. There is a low table and 2 low stools. Tang Feng and the female Superman Kayla Kent are alone, sitting aside and having dinner. The dinner was prepared by Kayla Kent, who prepared a table of delicious food to welcome Tang Feng. However, on the surface it was like this, but in her heart she was reluctant. In any case, now Tang Feng is officially moving in and sharing the lease with Kayla. Before that, Kayla had asked about the luggage, which was easy to handle. Tang Feng left for a while, and turned into a suitcase, containing towels, toothpaste and other daily necessities, and some simple clothes. As for the bed, there is no need to prepare the sheets and so on. The rented room has already been prepared. Tang Feng will wash it and clean the room. He definitely just pretended. He made everything new before Kayla noticed. Tang Feng praised it while eating. It was really delicious and he hadn't eaten for a long time. He ate it deliciously. Thank you for the compliment. Kayla chuckled and nodded as she ate the steak. Tang Feng praised her for her delicious food, which made her feel happy and less depressed. She still can't understand why so many coincidences happened today. She just met Tang Feng and her mother just called her. She just picked Tang Feng again and asked him to answer. So I got entangled with Tang Feng. I thought I got rid of him, but I met him at the door. It turned out to be a person from school. The roommate just broke up. So many coincidences. And finally let Tang Feng share the rent with her. The thought of sharing a room with a man gave Kayla a headache and made her distressed. She has never had a boyfriend, let alone shared a rental agreement with a man. This is the first time she has shared a room with a man, and she feels very uncomfortable. If she hadn't promised Tang Feng before, Kayla would have sternly rejected him. Sorry, eat first, I'm going to the bathroom. Kayla's ear moved, and she heard someone stealing nearby. Since she heard it, she couldn't ignore it. She said to Tang Feng with an embarrassed smile, after all, it is very impolite to go to the bathroom during mealtime. Tang Feng watched Kayla enter the bathroom and closed the door. With his transparent eyes, he clearly saw Kayla fly out of the bathroom window, quickly flew to the window of her room, went in, changed her clothes in seconds, and then flew out of the window, to enforce justice. The whole process is very fast, and it is impossible to see it with ordinary people's eyes, and only Tang Feng can see it clearly. The figure is indeed very good, not only white, slippery, but also looks very elastic. Tang Feng couldn't help but praise it, turned around and went back to eat. As expected of the farmer's daughter, the food is really delicious. Also influenced by Tang Feng, Kayla's parents are the same as the original Superman's parents. They are both farmers, with the same name and the same appearance. In this regard, Tang Feng couldn't help but complain about himself. Fortunately, there are female Superman in the DC world. Otherwise, if the female Superman he made is based on the Clark Kent template, isn't he a women's clothing boss? Fortunately, maybe it is his subconscious misogynistic gangster, so Kayla doesn't look like Clark Kent at all. After 2 or 3 minutes, Kayla finally came back. When she came out of the bathroom, she even flushed the toilet. Tang Feng smiled and watched the process of dressing up again, but that was not the reason why he deliberately made trouble, just because he wanted to monopolize a table of delicious food. And because of a bad taste in his mouth, he wanted to see how many reasons Kayla had to find to go to the bathroom. So, Kayla is about to collapse next. During a dinner party, 6 crimes occurred, and it happened near the community, and they were all robbers. God, she is going crazy. Why are there so many robbers today? Now she is embarrassed to look at Tang Feng and goes to the bathroom too many times, which is embarrassing. What, do you still have to go to the bathroom? Tang Feng was full, wiped his mouth with a tissue, and asked with a smile. Ask for flowers. Yes. Kayla responded weakly and did not want to find any reason, and walked towards the bathroom very depressed. This was the 7th time. She was very frantic. She flew towards the robber at the fastest speed. The power of the female Superman, even if it has been restricted, is not a joke. TSK. The shot was a bit truthless, and the robbers were all hit with slight concussions. Because I was annoyed, I started a little harder, but accidentally killed the robber. It seems to be a homicide incident. How much impact will it have on the female Superman? Tang Feng looked in the direction of the robber, and after talking to himself, he snapped his fingers. As soon as he snapped his fingers, the robber's crying stopped, his legs twitched, his body stiffened, and he died just like that. Did he die? Kayla was stunned. Did he die? The woman who was assaulted was also stunned, and after reacting, she subconsciously shouted, I didn't mean that. She took one last look at the thief, and with a heavy heart from guilt, she flew away. Although she accidentally killed someone by mistake, it was impossible for her to stay where she was and be caught obediently. What's wrong? You look very ugly. Do you have diarrhea? That's right, you went to the bathroom so many times. You should have diarrhea. When Kayla came back, Tang Feng looked at her ugly face and wondered. Kayla smiled reluctantly, held her cup unhappily, poured boiling water into it, and drank it one by one. I have a very curious question that I've been wanting to ask you. I hope you don't mind. I found that your things, cups, wallpapers, clothes, all have an M logo. What does it mean? 5. Tang Feng pointed at the cup Kayla was holding and asked, do you believe in the existence of gods? Kayla was silent for a while, looked at the word M on the cup, and asked the spoon inexplicably. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 7 Acquaintances in Parallel Universes. If there is a true God in the world, then I think the true God must be the God of Destiny. Without waiting for Tang Feng to answer, Kayla said to herself, she is convinced that the God of Destiny exists. She has felt the existence of the God of Destiny since she was a child. She can feel the gaze of the God of Destiny, and she has heard his words. Just when she was 6 years old, she was bullied by a bad boy and pushed her into dirty mud and stained her new skirt. She was very sad that day, and although her parents comforted her, she was always depressed. At night, she couldn't sleep. She looked at the moon outside the window, folded her hands, and prayed, Great God of Destiny, I have been bullied. Please give me the strength to defeat bad people. This is just a child's fantasy. But a miracle happened. Little Kayla seemed to hear the God of Destiny speaking to her. Do you want power? Take it if you want it. Use the power I gave you to 97.90. Whether to execute justice or to do evil, it's all up to you. Do what you want. As soon as she finished speaking, she felt her body grow stronger and she turned into a female Superman. After that time, the God of Fate never talked to her again, and she couldn't sense her existence. Some people may say, it must be an illusion. Many fanatic believers think this way, and there is no true God in the world. Kayla doesn't care about these words. She firmly believes that the God of Fate is real. She can become Superman, and it is also the power that the God of Fate bestows on her. Therefore, she likes the letter M. M is the first letter of fate, and it also represents the God of Fate. These are Kayla's thoughts. She didn't explain too much, but just made it clear that M represents the God of Fate and is the true God she believes in. Okay, it's getting late. It's time for me to take a shower. After Kayla finished speaking, she went to the bathroom with a long towel. Tang Feng blinked and looked at her back, hesitating to say something, but he didn't say anything. Anyway, waiting for her to come out, I'm also the one who takes advantage of it, so that I can have a feast for the eyes. Then, he touched his chin and thought, it seems that there is such a thing. Although Kayla didn't say it, she could hear her heart and completely figured it out. It was something he did subconsciously while sleeping. It's like dreaming. Dreaming that you are a real high-level God who can control the fate of all things. When you change the fate of mortals, you don't want to be an unknown good person, so you talk to mortals in the name of gifts. Remind mortals, who changed your fate, you should be grateful. What Tang Feng did during the sleeping period was just like the previous dream experience. There is definitely another point. He subconsciously has a kind of conceited and aloof mentality when doing things. Ahem. He flatly refuses to admit it. The fate of the female Superman is changing. 35 Tang Feng came back to his senses and looked at Kayla's fate, and found that because of the death of the thief, her fate, which had been calm and unwavering, has rippled, like a small stone thrown into the lake and broken movement. With the shitty nature of Country M, it likes to meddle in its own affairs, likes various demonstrations and protests, and coupled with the constraints of human nature and morality, after knowing that the female Superman has killed a thief by mistake, it will definitely cause trouble. The first person to make a fuss is the police chief, George Stacy. He pointed to a group of law enforcement officers, pointed at the thieves covered in white cloth, and angrily accused the female Superman of the crime, and swore on the spot that he would definitely catch her. This kind of thing also spread quickly on the internet. Under the rapid and convenient transmission of the internet, it was all about the female Superman, which quickly spread all over the world. Most netizens are accusing the female Superman. This is wrong, you can't do it, it's just doing bad things in the name of justice, and you are a habitual murderer. Wait, it's all ugly words. The inferiority of human beings is like this. No matter how many times a good person does good things, as long as he does something bad, even if it is unintentional, human beings will break down and no understanding will be gained. On the contrary, if he is a bad person, he sincerely repents and shows a very desolate side, it will arouse the sympathy of others and will be easily forgiven. This is complex human nature. Kayla Kent, the female Superman who always executes justice. What would you do in the face of this situation? Tang Feng thought curiously. Although he can control the fate of others, he will not control it all the time. Just like driving a car, he adjusted the direction and left the steering wheel with both hands, and then the car will head in that direction after driving for a stable distance, which he did not expect. It's too boring to have the answer from the beginning, so Tang Feng didn't use fate to explore the answer, but instead waited patiently to see how Kayla would deal with this situation. I've washed it. Have you washed it? Kayla had already washed it. She asked casually. Wait later. Tang Feng also answered casually and kept looking at her. Kayla was stunned for a moment, but she also reacted, blushing and hurried back to the room. Really? Why did I take a long towel to take a shower, knowing that the co-tenant was a man? Kayla leaned against the door. Her face was still hot. She looked at her body wrapped in a long towel, and muttered to herself regretfully. The previous co-tenants were all women, and they were all used to it, and they couldn't change it for a while. It was the first time she looked like this in front of a man, and she felt a great loss. Damn, it's cheap for him, Kayla said sadly and put on her pajamas. Don't be surprised. She is different from the average woman in Country M. She has always been a little conservative and has a prejudice towards Eastern women. This is also Tang Feng's influence. Because of this embarrassed, Kayla rarely left the room. Tang Feng didn't care either, and returned to his room after washing, lay down, staring at the ceiling, feeling bored for a while. After sleeping for thousands of years, he now doesn't sleep at all. By the way, they are from this parallel universe. Tang Feng suddenly remembered the acquaintance in the parallel universe, and quickly looked at the fate of this world, looking for the fate of Linger and other daughters. The results did not find the fate of Linger 4.7, except for Sky and Wanda. Tang Feng was stunned for a moment, and soon knew the reason. There are no mutants in this parallel universe, only people with super abilities, so Linger and other daughters, and Magneto and others, do not exist. Therefore, TV dramas with extraordinary abilities, those also belong to mutant, also do not exist. Under Tang Feng's unconscious influence, no similar person appeared. For him, Linger and the others are in the original universe and should not appear in this parallel universe. Moreover, in this parallel universe, because there is also a Rising Tide organization, there is also Sky. There are people with super abilities and there are two brothers and sisters, Quicksilver and Scarlet. Which? Chapter 8-3 Spider-Man, Sky in the parallel universe. There is no tragedy. He has the super ability of awakening. His parents are also by his side, and he lives a happy life on the moon of the Inhumans. She is now 16 years old, single, and has no boyfriend for the time being. She will never have one in her life, except for Tang Feng. The same is true for Wanda. Even if Tang Feng was in a deep sleep, he was subconsciously taking care of her. Wanda and Quicksilver also have no tragedies. They are enjoying the happiness of their family and have the super ability of awakening. They are now about 17 years old. Although the siblings do not live in Country M, their fame has spread to this side, and the nicknames are also the same, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Knowing Sky and Wanda's situation, Tang Feng felt at ease and didn't want to disturb their peaceful lives now. Let's go with fate. After all, they are not the same person. They are just acquaintances in the parallel universe. As long as they are okay, as to whether they are together or not, it doesn't matter that much to them. However, Apart from him, no other man could get close to them. A bit boring. After thinking about it, Tang Feng turned his head and looked out the window. The bright moon had just risen halfway, and there was still some distance from the center. This night is a bit long. Tang Feng has no intention of sleeping. What should I do? I still want to do something to pass the time. I see where Kayla is now. Tang Feng knew that Kayla was doing justice outside, and his eyes penetrated all the obstacles, separated by half of the city, and quickly found Kayla, who was fighting crime. This is a port. 2 gangs of underworld gangsters are trafficking drugs. Kayla appears. In the fire of gunfire, she hits left and right, and it doesn't take long to knock down nearly 100 big men. When she was about to call the police, there was a faint sound of a pulling ring. Her face was stunned, and she immediately looked for a sound, and her eyes that could see through let her penetrate the body of a gangster and see the hand hidden under it, and the bomb pulling the ring. How does he have a bomb? When this question first appeared, Kayla subconsciously wanted to stop her. Although the gangster had already raised his hand and threw the bomb at her, she believed that there was enough time to snatch the bomb away, and then threw it at her. The plane crashed into the ground, resulting in an accident. The bomb exploded ahead of time and exploded as soon as the ring was opened. This is not an ordinary bomb, and it is not used to blow people up. It is almost the same as suicide. With the explosion, several nearby bodies flew into the air, and more than a dozen people were injured by the bomb fragments. Kayla dodged the distance in time and was silent for a while. She had no time to make any movements, and she did not expect that she could only express her regret for the people who died in the bombing. Because of the bomb, she did not pay too much attention to the situation around her and flew away in a bad mood. This must be big news. The robber has just been killed, and the female Superman is on a killing spree. Daily Bugle intern Eddie Bullock grabbed his mobile phone excitedly. He used the video recording function to record everything just now. The reason why I don't need to take pictures is because there is a flash when taking pictures, and I am afraid that the female Superman will find out. Just take a clip from the recorded video and let him say it out of context. Compared with the justice that the female Superman has done, or the murder is more topical. When he thinks about the news he reports, he will sell a lot and his name will be known to many people. His boss values him. Promotion and salary increase are not an illusion, and all kinds of bright futures make him excited and leave in a hurry. Eddie Brock is the villain of the first generation of Spider-Man. In the plot of Spider-Man 3, he is Venom and opposes Spider-Man. Tang Feng watched him leave from the perspective of God. The bomb accident was deliberately done by him. However, these actions of Eddie were not guided by him. This person had a bad heart, and without his secret guidance, he automatically framed the female Superman. So, Tang Feng raised his eyebrows and thought, is this Spider-Man in this parallel universe the first generation? He was very curious about this matter, so he went to look up Spider-Man's destiny trajectory, and the results surprised him. There were 3 Spider-Man's destiny trajectories. What are you doing? Tang Feng touched his head speechlessly and sat up. It was too unexpected for him, so he didn't have to guess. If this happened, it must have been influenced by him. According to the fate of the 3 Spider-Man, he also knows who they are, and as expected, it is the first generation Spider-Man, the second generation Extraordinary Spider-Man, and the third generation Dutch Brother. The reason why there are these 3 generations of Spider-Man is because Tang Feng has only seen these 3 versions of Spider-Man, and he only recognizes these 3 Spider-Man. There has always been a saying, the first generation is the most classic, the second generation is the most handsome, and the third generation is the most talkative. Well, maybe Tang Feng was very fond of Spider-Man and took special care of him. So 3 Spider-Man appeared in this parallel universe. The 3 Spider-Men are called Peter Parker, and there is also an Aunt May. The first generation is the elderly Aunt May, and there is another Mabe. The second generation is the middle-aged Aunt Mai, who is no longer young and has no Bo. The third generation also has no Mabel. Aunt May is the youngest, sexy and charming. Iron Man Tony can't help but praise. Let's talk about the current situation of the 3 Spider-Men. The first generation Spider-Man is now a third-year student and has not yet become Spider-Man. The second generation was a freshman and did not become Spider-Man. The third generation is the senior year. The same is true, however. 990 was not far from the day they became Spider-Man. 5 days later, there was an organized activity, which was to visit the Osborn Company, which happened to be both. The first and second generation Spider-Men are all in the same university. Kayla is also in this university. They are all famous academic teachers. What makes Tang Feng funny is that the parents of the three Spider-Men not only have the same first and last name, but also worked together at Osborn Company, and they all did transgenic experiments. They are also S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. Nima. It's really funny. It's more trash than the plot of a third-rate movie. Tang Feng couldn't help but curse and felt a faint pain in his head. This kind of outrageous thing could only be done in Shen Mian's unconsciousness. It seems interesting. After a while, Tang Feng thought with a playful expression, it's very exciting to think that 3 Spider-Men are born at the same time. And, most importantly, with 3 Spider-Men having 3 destinies, there are too many places to cause trouble. So, Tang Feng was already thinking about how to play. Because I have something to think about, I ignore the time, and before I know it, the sky is already bright. The first day of Tang Feng's awakening finally passed, and the second day arrived. Chapter 9. Peter Parker, Gwen. The next day's work is to go to school after breakfast with Kayla. Tang Feng looked helpless. This was his own sin and he had to swallow it no matter how hard he tried. So, he and Kayla took the bus to school. How long has it been since you went to school? I don't remember, but I miss it. Tang Feng stood at the school gate with a nostalgic look on his face. This is our school, but what about the most famous university in the New York City? The school gate alone is very elegant, right? There is also a deep sense of historical vicissitudes. Kayla stood beside Tang Feng and said proudly, "Good." Tang Feng replied indifferently, because of her existence. He no longer cares about which school she goes to, and it is rare to miss her. Seeing that Tang Feng was really not very interested, Kayla had no choice but to stop introducing the facts of the school and lead the way to the door. Tang Feng shrugged and followed. Have you read today's Daily Bugle? I saw it. I saw it all. I don't know what the Daily Bugle said. Is it true? The female Superman really killed again? It's all reported. It must be true. Yes, it must be true. I thought that the female Superman wouldn't kill casually. It was fair, but I didn't expect that she would kill casually relying on her strength, and I won't worship her in the future. Me too. I thought the same way. Entering the school gate, all the students were discussing the female Superman's murder. Kayla listened with an ugly face, clutching the shoulder bag she was carrying, so tightly that it made a creaking sound and would break the sturdy strap at any time. Since I got up in the morning, went out, took the bus, and passed by, I heard everyone talking about her murder again. Kayla was stunned, confused, and angry, but she didn't know how to speak, so she said, No, I don't know, no. 35 Kayla said such a sentence to Tang Feng, and regardless of whether Tang Feng could help her successfully get the sick leave, she quickly left. Okay, I'll take this sick leave for you. Tang Feng looked at the back of Kayla's departure and replied, thinking in his heart, I don't know how strong your heart is, I hope you won't give up so easily. He raised his lips and smiled, looking forward to the future development more and more. Kayla is right, if everyone believes in the female Superman, they shouldn't believe Signal-less report so easily. Corner. I know a little about the Daily Bugle, but it is often taken out of context, and in order to gain attention, the things that are reported are half-truths. After Kayla left, a cowardly student with glasses, because he was an admirer of the female Superman, gathered his courage and spoke up. Peter Parker Jr., the first-generation Spider-Man. Tang Feng tilted his head to look at Peter Parker, who spoke and smiled. What a coincidence. He met the first-generation Spider-Man as soon as he entered school. Hey Parker, don't talk nonsense. The Daily Bugle is a very good boy, and he is very good at being a good boy. Clarion is well known. How can something go wrong in the report? I know you've always been a fan of the female Superman, but you can't speak for the female Superman like this. She's a real killer. Are you going to speak for a killer? From a malicious voice came Thompson, the school bully with the nickname Lightning, who has always been the villain who bullied the first-generation Spider-Man. Even in this parallel universe, his current intentions are also very bad. If Peter Parker still supports the female Superman, he is supporting the killer, as he said. Whatever the reason, it is not right to blatantly support the killer. The position is questionable, and with Thompson's malicious operations, it is easy to tarnish Peter Parker's reputation. In the end, Peter Parker may be forced to drop out of school before graduation. Peter Parker is very smart and knows the consequences of continuing to speak out. It is not a sin to speak freely, but with Thompson's intervention, it is not that simple. He couldn't be impatient, thinking of the terrible consequences, thinking of the disappointed eyes of his uncle and aunt. He could only hold back, lowered his head and walked away. Ha ha ha, everyone, Peter Parker is just a turtle with a wrinkled head. He doesn't dare to say anything. Thompson was pointing at Peter Parker's back and laughed out loud. Tang Feng has been watching the play, and suddenly felt that Thompson is really suitable to be the villain. He snapped his fingers when he thought about it. Lightning, that makes you worthy of your name. Tang Feng snapped his fingers and left, visiting schools everywhere. This was his first time going to college, and it was worth seeing. Hello, can you take a photo for me, please? When he walked into a small forest, the flowers on the trees were blooming, which was a nice sight, and many people were taking pictures with their mobile phones. A blonde girl also wanted to take a photo. If it was a selfie, she wouldn't be able to take a panoramic photo, so she had to ask someone to help. Tang Feng's temperament is undoubtedly different. She fell in love with Tang Feng at first sight, and Kayla's choice is the same. When she walked in front of Tang Feng and asked, there were also many girls around who wanted to ask Tang Feng to take pictures. Seeing that she had taken a step first, she had to take a step back depressedly. Gwen Stacy, not only a beauty, but also a scholar, ranked second in the school, and Kayla was the first. Therefore, Gwen, who is smart and beautiful, has a great reputation in the school, and because there are many suitors, she also has a great influence, and ordinary female students really dare not provoke Gwen openly. Vertical bar yes. Tang Feng nodded slowly. Taking pictures was a matter of hands. He immediately agreed and took Gwen's phone. Okay, keep smiling, I'll shoot. With one click, press the capture button. Okay, it's been filmed. What do you think? Tang Feng used some small methods to make the photos look better. Whether it's the scenery of the flowering trees or the beautiful women in the photos, they can deeply attract attention, and they are more powerful than NEP photos. He had no idea, he just felt that he had a fate with Gwen, and he was the first beauty to take pictures after waking up, so he gave her some benefits. Non-UOS. Wow, how beautiful. Is it really me in the photo? Gwen took the phone, and as soon as he saw the photo, Roar was shocked. Let me see. Wow, it's so beautiful. How did you take it? 99. It's amazing. It's obviously just some ordinary photography software, and there are no traces of cropping. How did you take it? It's so pretty, I wish it was me. 39. When the surrounding female students heard Gwen's words, they curiously came over to take a look. Gwen is definitely very proud, her vanity is very satisfied, and she is very satisfied with the photos that Tang Feng helped her take. Happy, in order to express her gratitude, she invited Tang Feng to dinner, which was very rare, and she would never invite anyone to dinner casually. Tang Feng nodded casually. If someone invites you to eat, let's eat. Chapter 10. Gwen's curiosity. I have to praise Gwen, who may be the first love of the second generation of Spider-Man. She really has her advantages. Beauty is a must, and a good figure is also a must. Not only a scholar, but also a good character, not to mention those women who worship money. She also loves herself and will not mess with men and women lightly. Because her father is the police chief, George Stacy, she is a very stubborn person. As a result, with her father's checks, she is still single now. However, she didn't care. After all, her vision was quite high, and for the time being, she did not look down on the male friends who pursued her. It was noon and the morning class was over. Gwen met Tang Feng at the school gate as agreed, and invited Tang Feng to dinner. Do you want Western food or Chinese food? Gwen asked as she walked. She is undoubtedly a very attentive and polite girl, Through the previous chat, she knew that Tang Feng has half of Oriental blood, so she asked, "Chinese food?" Tang Feng didn't think much about it and said directly, "Then let's eat Chinese food, there's a Chinese restaurant nearby." Gwen didn't hesitate and nodded happily, although Chinese food would be more expensive, but she wasn't stingy. "Boss, look over there, it's that kid." "Is it him?" "He's dead." At this moment, a tall and powerful boy walked over with two followers and stopped in front of Tang Feng with a cruel look. "Friar, this is my friend, what do you want to do?" Gwen stepped forward, stood in front of Tang Feng, and shouted at the tall boy, "Get out of the way, Gwen, you're mine and no one is allowed to get close to you." The boy named Flare pointed at Tang Feng and said, "What am I yours, Flare?" "I said it a long time ago, we can only be friends, I don't promise to be your girlfriend." Gwen showed an annoyed face. She had no sympathy for Friar, the school bully. In her opinion, Friar was a simple-minded gorilla who only showed off his strength everywhere, and his behavior was too childish, totally inappropriate for her boyfriend's standards. "I don't care, I'm going to match you up anyway. Even if you don't agree now, I won't let other men get close to you. Boy, if you dare to hit on the girl I like, you're dead," Flare said irritably, and he pushed Gwen away with just a light push, raised his fist, and punched Tang Feng's face. There were many students who left the school. They were watching, and when they saw that Tang Feng was about to be hit, they were all startled. Tang Feng smiled, took a small step forward, tilted his head, avoided his fist, and then punched out with his right fist, with a dull sound. Flare screamed in pain, his eyes widened, and his hands covered his falling abdomen. "Boss! Damn it, let's go." The two Flare valets were first stunned, then rushed towards Tang Feng. In response, Tang Feng shook his head and punched them 2 or 3 times, knocking them down. "Still fighting?" Tang Feng squatted in front of Flare, smiled indifferently, and asked. Flare was very embarrassed and already knew that Tang Feng was not easy to mess with, but he was desperate to save face and would not easily admit defeat, especially in front of Gwen. He did not want to be a coward. So, he screamed, endured the pain in his abdomen, stood up, raised his fist, and was about to punch. Tang Feng's shot was faster, holding his fist in one hand and punching it hard, hitting his entire body against the ground with a thud. Indistinctly, the sound of fractures could be heard. This time, Flare could no longer stand up, curled up, lay on the ground, and groaned. "It's done, let's go." Tang Feng clapped his hands and said indifferently. Gwen responded in surprise, not expecting Tang Feng to be so powerful. From her point of view, Flare was already very good at fighting, but she did not expect that he would not be able to fight. Could counterattack Tang Feng at all. "Is it okay?" When Gwen left, she looked at Flare, who was still lying on the ground, and asked with a frown. It was because of her that Tang Feng fought with Flare. If Flare was seriously injured by Tang Feng would have broken the law, would be detained, and his school loan would be cancelled. On the other hand, Flare is her suitor, not a villain, just out of jealousy, and should not be harmed so much. "It's okay, don't worry, I'm measured, it just hurts for a while." Tang Feng shrugged without blinking, telling a lie. The ghost was in pain for a while, and Flare had already fainted from the pain, and his internal organs were broken, so it's reasonable to say that he would die. However, when he was taken to the campus infirmary, his injuries had completely recovered and he was fine. 0. For the flowers. The school doctor concluded that it was just a small superficial wound, nothing. Flare left the hospital with a lingering fear. Also because of the humiliation in front of Gwen, he felt that he was not qualified to pursue her, so he chose to give up. Half an hour later, at a Chinese restaurant called You Eat. The food in this Chinese restaurant is very good. "Then, I'll go first. Thank you for your invitation." Tang Feng finished speaking to Gwen and left with a smile. "It's really interesting." Gwen raised her cheeks with one hand, looked at Tang Feng's leaving back, and muttered to herself. She found that Tang Feng was different from other boys. She personally invited guests to dinner. If it were another boy, she would definitely be very excited and try her best to get close. Just like a peacock, in front of her, You want the most beautiful tale to bloom and show your best side, but Tang Feng is different. He has always been very indifferent, just like a very ordinary dinner. The eyes looking at her had always been very clear, not like other boys. Some were hot, as if they wanted to swallow her up. Or on the surface, she was a serious person, but he looked at her with lustful eyes in the dark. Moreover, when chatting with her during dinner, other boys would try their best to talk about interesting topics. They just wanted to chat with her more, but Tang Feng wasn't like that. He just talked casually, chatted when he had something to say, and only focused on eating when he had nothing to say, just treating her as an ordinary classmate. Under Gwen's careful observation, she could confidently judge that Tang Feng didn't pretend to be like this on purpose and wanted to use anti-routine tricks to tease her, but acted from the heart. There is no need for any reason. This is a woman's sixth sense, which is very spiritual. Without a doubt, Tang Feng didn't care much about her, didn't want to pick her up, and treated her as an ordinary girl. Compared to other boys, she was like a little green among 1,000 flowers, which made people care too much. Therefore, Gwen now has a strong curiosity about Tang Feng, a transfer student, and wants to know what kind of person Tang Feng is. Chapter 11 The Terrible Tang Feng. Daily Bugle is located. The moment is when Tang Feng and Gwen are eating. Kayla has already disguised herself as the female Superman. From the sky, she swooped down at a very high speed, and her face was full of anger. She thought about it seriously, but she still couldn't hold her breath. It was obviously a righteous act that should be praised. So why was it turned into a murder case? Are the Daily Bugle reporters blind? Dare to take it out of context. The female Superman's murder case is so beautifully fabricated. It's good to see that she wants to kill. With a bang, on the 23rd floor, a wall was torn down, and the female Superman appeared like this, floating in the air without touching the ground, holding Yu-Hung with both hands, and looked at the group of reporters in front of her with cold eyes. The reporters who were busy with their own affairs were all frightened by the appearance of the female Superman and stood there in a daze, at a loss. Who is Eddie Bullock? Please come over to 993. I have a lot to tell you about your report on my murder. Kayla looked at the reporters one by one, trying to identify who she was looking for, and asked coldly. Eddie is out. He's on leave because of a cold. Superman, you came here suddenly and broke the wall. What are you trying to do? The editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle was called James. He was afraid to stand up and replied and looked at the hole that had been opened in the wall in distress. If you want to repair the hole, it will cost you a sum of dollars. He is an iron rooster, and as long as he spends money, he will feel very distressed. Isn't he now? You are the editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, I know you. And since Eddie Bullock is not around, I will ask you. You reported my murder. What the hell happened? Obviously I didn't kill anyone, so why did you write this? Kayla fell in front of James and asked angrily. Is that so? I'm not sure about this. Is it Eddie's mistake, or is there a misunderstanding? The picture he gave me is the picture of your murder. 35 He also swore to tell me that he saw it with his own eyes. He said, you deliberately didn't grab the grenade bomb in time and threw it. So many people died. Editor-in-chief James pretended to be stupid and filled with stunned explanations. First, he said that he was not clear about it, and then he said that he had misunderstood the fact that the female Superman murdered. Anyway, there was no truth. I was at the scene at the time, so I should have seen that as soon as the man pulled out the ring on the grenade, it immediately exploded and I had no time to save people. Kayla put her hands on her hips, angering Roar's explanation. Roar, hee, that's it. James laughed dryly, looking at his face. He didn't believe it at all. The rest of the reporters also didn't believe the female Superman's explanation. Joke. Who is the female Superman? She can run faster than trains, lift airplanes, see mosquitoes and flies 10,000 meters away, hear all sounds 10,000 meters away, and no crime can hide from her. Heaven and earth, nothing is impossible. The female Superman is as powerful as the true God of the world. So, no one believes that the female Superman will not have time to save people. It is impossible. Deliberately not saving people is killing people. And for the female Superman, that's all. The same is true, Most people who read the newspaper subconsciously believe that the female Superman killed. Yes, the murder was carried out. And it was obvious that she committed suicide, but the female Superman simply did not take action to save people. In their opinion, it was an intentional murder. This is a very morbid idea and a very severe requirement. Isn't the female Superman very powerful? Can't she help? Isn't she to execute justice? Since this is the case, she can't be left without help. This is the inferiority of human beings. Habits are a terrible thing. People have become accustomed to the female Superman executing justice, fighting criminals, and protecting them. It has become a normal thing. Therefore, they cannot tolerate the intentional murder of the female Superman. The above words are what the world thinks of the female Superman now. Kayla can analyze the faces of the reporters, the frequency of their heartbeats, and the subtle reactions of their body. No one believes her words, whether you believe it or not. What I say is true. No one believed her, and Kayla couldn't force her to believe it. After she finished speaking angrily, Roar flew away in an aggrieved mood. As the female Superman flew away, the wind blew the paper away. The reporters didn't care, wiping away the sweat from when they were nervous. They finally relaxed. Just now, the female Superman seemed to be begging for blame, and was really afraid to start killing people. If it was before, she really didn't believe that the female Superman would kill innocent people, but now, it's a little uncertain. Kayla, who had already flown away, knew from the reporter's fearful reaction to her what people think of her now. She is very sad. Is the justice she has always insisted on for so many years, is it all fake? Are the people saved over the years also fake? Abandoning her trust so easily, is it worth it to help and enforce justice for those people? Kayla flew to the roof of a building and looked at the crowd below, feeling dispirited for a moment. Good intentions are not rewarded, just an incident of manslaughter, and this incident of intentional murder. So many years of justice have been in vain. Faced with this situation, do you insist on executing justice, or would you rather not insist any longer? No matter which one you choose, the script doesn't seem to be exciting enough and it's too boring. Tang Feng appeared behind Kayla and muttered to himself. Strangely, Kayla didn't notice Tang Feng's existence at all. Even if Tang Feng was standing in front of her, she couldn't see it. So this is the decision: continue to make some misunderstandings and see if you are forced to blacken yourself and become the dark female Superman. Or, you can always adhere to the principle, and through hard work, you have gained the understanding of the world. 99 Next, go ahead and start your show, Female Superman Kayla Kent. Tang Feng laughed softly at 4.7, snapped his fingers happily, and the female Superman's fate began to change inexplicably. No matter which path Kayla chooses in the end, during this process, her experience will be very exciting, and the trajectory of her destiny will be very turbulent, just like the ocean current, which may make Tang Feng realize her destiny faster. It is for this reason that Tang Feng will not let the fate of the female Superman return to peace. If there are no contradictions, he will automatically create some contradictions. As for the consequences, Tang Feng would not care. Even if the female Superman becomes the dark female Superman, he will start a killing spree, fight against the world, trigger a world war, and cause tragic casualties. So what? Divinity has the upper hand, and Tang Feng, whose humanity is already very weak, will do it without hesitation as long as it is beneficial to him. Chapter 12: The Day of Spider-Man's Birth. Since Tang Feng is behind the scenes and continues to do things, Kayla is destined to not have a peaceful life in the future. Although Kayla has become disheartened, hesitation is indecisive in choosing whether to continue being the female Superman. But before making a decision, if she knew that there was a crime nearby, she would still choose to act. Therefore, the execution of justice in recent days has really been a frequent occurrence of accidents and riots. She originally rescued an old man, but the old man was frightened and died like this. It was supposed to be to prevent a serial car accident, but one of the cars contained terrorists and had a bomb. Seeing the appearance of the female Superman, she thought that she would not be able to escape, so she simply detonated the bomb. In the rumbling sound, one car exploded first, and then 3 or 4 vehicles in a row were affected and exploded. It was also Kayla who reacted and protected the rest of the vehicles with vital magnetic field energy, otherwise more vehicles would explode. The accidents are not just these 2, there are many more. As long as Kayla comes to the rescue and stops the criminals, there will be accidents and human lives. In this way, Bugle Daily saw the hot topic of '09 and saw the possibility of an explosion in newspaper sales. Like a mad dog, it did not care about offending the female Superman, and regardless of the consequences, it continued to report on the female Superman. Intentional murder again? Has the female Superman changed? Was it an accident or intentional? Is the death of an old man really just out of fear? Shocked. Has the female Superman committed such crimes? Shocked. Count the crimes committed by the female Superman. The above are all headlines, no matter how astonishing they are, and the content is also astonishing. It just throws dirty water on the female Superman. The Daily Bugle was really very eye-catching because it slandered the female Superman in this way, and the newspaper sales exploded, earning a lot of dollars. When other newspaper industries saw this, they became jealous and slandered the female Superman, and the sales of the newspapers also increased. In this way, for the sake of sales, they abandoned their integrity and tried their best to find the female Superman's past, deliberately misinterpreting it and taking it out of context. It was obviously a trivial matter, or a normal act of justice, but it was written as a very serious matter for them. Heinous crime. This is not only the newspaper industry, but seeing this hot topic, in order to increase traffic, other industries, such as magazines, various online platforms, various entertainment programs or whatever, have more or less mentioned the female Superman. The female Superman they talk about is more bad than good. This has undoubtedly set off a wave of slander about the female Superman. Even if a reasonable person stood up and called everyone to calm down and spoke for the female Superman, they would quickly sink under the waves and would not make people think deeply. Maybe it's because the law doesn't blame the public. Anyway, when these people talk about the so-called bad things about the female Superman, they open their mouths without any scruples and talk nonsense at will, regardless of whether there is such a thing or not. Originally, the atmosphere in the past few days was quite crazy. Unexpectedly, another female Superman murder incident occurred, which brought the hot topic to a climax. The editor-in-chief of the Daily Bugle, James, is dead. The cause of death was that he accidentally fell from the hole in the wall that the female Superman broke and fell to his death. This is also his own death. Because he was distressed for money, he hired one less worker to help repair the hole in the wall. Then an accident happened. In this accident, Tang Feng also participated. As he thought about it, as the Bugle Daily, which has always slandered female Superman pioneers, if the editor-in-chief dies, it will definitely cause an uproar in the society and stir up even more waves. With the current heated atmosphere, James' death will definitely be shifted to the female Superman. Sure enough, the Daily Bugle was the first to say that James' death was suspected to be a murder, and the meaning of the words vaguely pointed to the female Superman. In the latest report from the Clarion Daily Bugle first mentioned that the female Superman broke through the wall of the building and came to the door, suspected of revenge. Then they talked about the cause of James' death. They all said that when James repaired the hole in the wall, he always paid attention to his own safety and tied the rope, but died unexpectedly. The reporters of the Daily Bugle, with a unified voice, said that the situation was so strange that murder was suspected. So who is the person who murdered James? Anyone who reads the report will subconsciously think that it is the female Superman. This is the power of reporters. There is no certainty that the female Superman has murdered, but everyone is talking about it. However, in the entire report, as long as people who are not stupid can decide for themselves that they are the murderers of the female Superman, with the beginning of the Daily Bugle, the rest of the newspaper industry, or whatever, has followed suit. Although there is no solid evidence, they don't need evidence either. They just talk suspiciously and lead the female Superman. Some unscrupulous small newspaper industries, in order to save the poor sales, even directly called out the murder of the female Superman and listed the so-called evidence one by one. With the beginning of one, there will be two, there will be three, and then there will be countless followers. So, talking and talking, it turns out that it was the female Superman who murdered James, which is ridiculously well documented. Tang Feng also thought it was ridiculous when he saw this situation. Although he knew that human beings were inferior, he had guessed it, but he still felt speechless. He led the accident, but it did not influence the thoughts of others. I don't know what human beings want to do. I know that if this continues, the female Superman will be driven into a dead end. Tang Feng thought, shook his head and followed a group of students onto the bus. Today is a school-organized visit to the Osborn Industrial Building, and 993 is the day of the birth of the 3 Spider-Men. Tang Feng wanted to witness the birth of 3 Spider-Men, which is a very rare thing, so he came to school and left together. Hello, Tang Feng, we meet again. Tang Feng got on the bus and sat in the back seat of the 2 people on the right, leaning against the window seat. When he heard Gwen wave, he walked over and sat next to her by the way. The boys around him all looked at Tang Feng with envious expressions. They had already noticed Gwen, and they already had the thought of competing for seats with others, trying to sit with Gwen. Unexpectedly, Gwen didn't give them a chance, but instead sat next to Tang Feng. Hey, I didn't expect such a coincidence. Tang Feng tilted his head to look at Gwen's beautiful profile and said with a smile, he didn't really want to do anything. It was all fate. Because he is already the god of fate, the entire fate of the world revolves around him, with him as the center. Therefore, even if he does nothing, his unconscious thoughts will affect everyone. Just like before getting on the bus, he felt that the bus was too boring. With this thought, Gwen, a beautiful woman, automatically came to the door to chat with him to relieve boredom. Chapter 13 The second generation Spider-Man will be green. Wow, this problem has been bothering me for 2 days. I didn't expect you to help me solve it so easily. You are too powerful. It seems that with you as a transfer student, I will definitely fall to 3rd place in the school in the next exam. 99 That's right. 35 The bus has arrived at the Osborn Industrial Building. Tang Feng and Gwen got off the bus side by side and chatted happily. For Tang Feng, no exam is difficult for him, so even if he hasn't studied, he can still get full marks. It was a matter of course that the test score would surpass Gwen, and he was not humble, but nodded directly. In this regard, Gwen looked at Tang Feng with splendid eyes. No matter what course questions he had done before, Tang Feng could not be stumped. Although Tang Feng has always been very casual, his usual performance or words have a sense of self-confidence. Fighting is also very strong, not the kind of weak intellectual. She finds that Tang Feng is like a perfect boyfriend who fits her ideal type. Thinking of this, she blushed and bowed her head slightly. Why did she think of her boyfriend? Tang Feng bowed his head to look at Gwen's blushing profile and smiled lightly. It was not good for him to perform too well. The little girl had to take the initiative to post it upside down. The 2 of them walked side by side towards the Osborn Industrial Building, surrounded by college students or high school students heading in the same direction. Today's visit is the genetically modified spider, which is the most powerful genetic technology of the Osborn industry. With this advantage, the biotechnology of the Osborn industry is the strongest in the world. Okay, then, Gwen Stacy, an intern of Osborn Industries, will take Tang Feng to visit the genetically modified spider. She followed the flow of people into the Osborn building, which is a spacious hall, and there are genetically modified exhibits everywhere. All kinds of genetically modified spiders are placed in glass jars for people to visit. Gwen walked to the front, took out a work poster, hung it in front of Yu Hung and said mischievously. He felt that he was already an intern at Osborn Industry before graduation, which would definitely surprise Tang Feng. Wow, I didn't expect that you're great. Tang Feng already knew this, but he pretended not to know and acted together with a look of admiration. I was lucky enough to become an intern because I was lucky enough to be appreciated by Dr. Connors when he went to school to give lectures. 95 Gwen said as he led Tang Feng to visit the genetically modified spider. Tang Feng listened and nodded, pretending to be very interested in GMOs, and asked Gwen a few words from time to time, to satisfy her good mood that she was happy with her work. When the 2 of them visited, the other 3 Peter Parkers also met under the influence of fate. Here's the thing, A generation of Peter Parker was about to please his goddess and take a photo for Mary Jane, but was pestered and harassed by Lightning Thompson. Because of this, the people around, including the second and third generation of Spider-Man, noticed him, and they also heard Peter Parker yelling at Thompson. Thus, the second and third generation became curious about Peter Parker, who had the same first and last name. After Thompson left, they approached Roar at the same time. This was how the three Spider-Men met. "Your name is Peter Parker?" "Yes, my name is Peter Parker. How about you?" "Yes, me too." "What a coincidence. I'm also called Peter Parker." The three Peter Parkers introduced themselves in surprise. Faced with the same name and the same gender, the same cowardly personality, and the same academic bully, they all felt that the other two had too much appetite for them. There is a feeling of a compatriot seeing a compatriot, tears welling up, and can't wait to talk for a long time. Beside the three Peter Parkers, stood a generation of Spider-Man's best friend Harry Osborn. He had a funny face. He thought the world was too wonderful. He didn't expect that there are not only three Peter Parkers with the same name in this world. Even the personalities are so similar. There are uncles and aunts with the same name and surname, and so are their parents. "Oh my God! You guys are so destined," Harry exclaimed. "Ha ha ha ha." X3. The three Peter Parkers looked at each other and laughed out loud at the same time, feeling the same way. Then they naturally became good friends, and to commemorate the day, they asked Harry to take a group photo of them. Harry immediately agreed, took the camera, motioned for the three of them to stand up, and quickly took a photo. Just after the session, the three Peter Parkers, who were holding each other's shoulders and smiling, startled Roar and felt something bite them. The three of them covered their necks with one hand and looked at each other suspiciously, but found nothing strange. Where they hadn't seen, three genetically modified spiders had slithered into the corner of the sky. Strangeness. The three of them thought about it at the same time and felt the body begin to heat up. "What's wrong?" Harry walked over strangely and asked. Vertical bar nothing. It may be an illusion. The first Spider-Man shook his head hesitantly, thinking it was a trivial matter, so he didn't care about it, and the other two Spider-Men also thought the same. The day the three Spider-Men were born, Tang Feng stood in the distance, looking at the three of them through the crowd, whispering to himself. "What did you say?" Gwen walked in front. She didn't hear Tang Feng's words clearly. She thought he was asking something, then turned around and asked, "It's quite nice here. Let's take a photo." Tang Feng smiled lightly, raised the camera in one hand, and changed the subject. "Okay, why don't we take a photo together this time?" Gwen nodded and suggested. "Okay." Tang Feng nodded happily. "Hey Parker, can you take a photo of us?" Hearing that Tang Feng agreed, Gwen became very happy. She looked at the people around her and wanted to find someone to help her take pictures. When she saw the second-generation Spider-Man passing by, she waved her hand quickly and asked, "Nanu okay?" "Okay." The second-generation Spider-Man actually has a crush on Gwen, and he has just separated from the two compatriots. He just wants to come to Gwen, and it is the same routine, taking a photo or something, to bring the relationship closer. What made him sad was that he was a photographer, and it was not him who took pictures with the goddess in his heart, but Tang Feng. This is a sad story. Tang Feng knew very well that he did not mean to be a hooligan, just a gentleman who gently hugged Gwen's shoulders, facing the camera, smiling brightly. He suddenly discovered that other people's tragedies were also the source of his happiness. If he were to steal the second-generation Spider-Man's first love, it would be very interesting. Gwen leaned towards Tang Feng and smiled happily. She felt that her relationship with Tang Feng finally took a step closer by taking this photo together. In her heart, she was thinking of Tang Feng as her boyfriend. Only the second-generation Spider-Man's laughter was reluctant and his heart was pounding. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We are waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 14 Drunk Superman. After the group photo was over, The second-generation Spider-Man found a reason and left sadly. Gwen didn't care. She just held the camera with a happy face and admired the photos taken together at that time. The more she looked, the more satisfied she felt, and she also had a feeling of stolen joy. No matter how she looked at them, she felt that the two people who took the photo together were like a couple. Thinking like this, she glanced at Tang Feng, and Tang Feng just looked away, and the two looked at each other. Gwen's pretty face turned red. She turned her head in panic and looked away. Tang Feng smiled, looked at the other side, took her little hand naturally, walked to the other side, and said, "We haven't visited the other side, so let's go and see." Gwen stopped in surprise, feeling the temperature in Tang Feng's hand. Her head was a little dizzy. She didn't expect Tang Feng to suddenly pull her hand. Although it was a surprise, he did not refuse and shook his hand back. Originally, Gwen had a good impression of Tang Feng, but now Tang Feng took the initiative and Gwen did not refuse. In this way, the relationship between the two is speeding up and is getting closer to the relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend. Facts have proved that if you want to pursue a girl, you have to make a bold move without hesitation. The premise is definitely that the girl has a good feeling in her heart, otherwise she will be a hooligan. Walking through the Osborne building, holding hands, the two walked closer and whispered and laughed softly. Both of them looked into each other's eyes and became more and more like a couple. The second-generation Spider-Man has been watching from the crowd. His heart is palpitating and he sighs sadly. He has a bad feeling that the goddess he secretly loves will be abducted by Tang Feng. The skills are not as good as others. No matter how reluctant he is, there is nothing to do. All I can do is be sad alone, quietly squatting in the corner, adding the wound and wishing the goddess happiness. In this way, the visiting time is up. Everyone has to leave, return to school together, and then they can leave the school. Goodbye. Goodbye. Outside the school gate, the students said goodbye one by one. Tang Feng and Gwen walked out hand in hand, and also said goodbye and left. Gwen was very reluctant. Although she held Tang Feng's hand, there was no clear relationship between them. It was a relationship between ordinary people and half-hearted lovers. "I have to go." Gwen looked at Tang Feng, waiting for something, and said reluctantly, "Well, see you tomorrow." Tang Feng let go of Gwen's hand, nodded lightly, and pretended to be stupid. Gwen gave Tang Feng an angry look and felt very depressed. Before, he was so actively holding her hand. Why is he so stupid now? Seeing that Tang Feng didn't intend to hold back, she turned around unhappily. Otherwise, should she take the initiative to speak? "Oh, by the way, are you free tonight? I bought 2 movie tickets and I was short of a female companion." After Gwen took a few steps, Tang Feng made 2 movie tickets and said with a smile, "No time." Gwen turned around in surprise and looked at Tang Feng embarrassedly. "Oh, that's right. Then I'll have to find someone else." Tang Feng pretended to feel sorry and was about to take the movie ticket back. At this moment, Gwen quickly walked over and grabbed the movie ticket with one hand. Tsundere hummed, "It's not free now, and it will be free in the evening." "Okay." Tang Feng shrugged helplessly, spread his hands and said with a smile. Gwen PSSD, couldn't help but laugh, rolled his eyes at Tang Feng, put his hands behind his back and jumped. "Sure. No matter how smart they are, girls in love will become stupid." Tang Feng touched his chin with one hand and laughed softly. "Now that I figured it out, Gwen is also cute and has some tsundere in her as well. Watch a movie." The second-generation Spider-Man clutched his beating heart and quickly walked away. He felt that his body was getting hotter and hotter, and Roar was finding it difficult to suck. The other 2 Spider-Men were the same. They hurried back to the house and immediately returned to the room. After closing the door, they couldn't hold on any longer and fell down. When the 3 of them woke up, they were no longer ordinary people, but Spider-Men. Here, Tang Feng also returned to the rental house. As soon as he opened the door, he smelled a strong smell of alcohol. He heard a news report from the TV about a female Superman murder. There are many empty wine bottles on the low table and on the ground. Gala, a jet, is sitting on the ground, with 2 long legs stretched out. Her face is leaning on her right hand, her elbow is leaning on the low table, and she is holding the wine bottle in her left hand. He was already half drunk and half awake, watching the news with his eyes blank. There is no doubt that Kayla has been hit hard enough to be so decadent that she wants to numb herself with alcohol. However, due to her strong physical condition, it is not easy to get drunk, which is why she drank so much alcohol. TSK, what's wrong? After drinking so much alcohol, aren't you afraid of dying? Tell me, did you lose your love, or did your relatives die, or why? Tang Feng walked to Kayla, kicked all the empty wine bottles on the ground, sat beside her, and asked unknowingly, "Are you back? Drink with me." Kayla squinted her eyes drunk, her face turned red, she burped, and handed the bottle of wine she was drinking to Tang Feng. If it were normal, she wouldn't be so upset, but now she is sad and doesn't care so much anymore. Tang Feng refused to come, took the bottle and drank a few sips. Tasty. Tang Feng finished drinking and praised, "I don't know if the wine tastes good or if it tastes good. Hee, come again." Kayla grabbed the wine, took a few sips and handed it to Tang Feng, said with a drunken laugh. Tang Feng took it and drank again. That's it. Tang Feng accompanied Kayla to drink. Drink, drink, drink. 99 inches drink again. 99 Hey, why is it over? Kayla felt that she had run out of wine. So she threw away the empty bottle and wanted to drink another bottle, but every bottle she touched was empty. And it turned out that she had drunk all the wine. Wine, I want wine. 5 Kayla, who was already drunk, was losing her temper like a child, and smashed the low table with a light punch. With a light kick, the second-hand sofa beside it was kicked over. "I can make you drink, do you want it?" Tang Feng stepped forward and hugged Kayla gently, leaned his ear close to hers, and said, think. Kayla leaned her head on Tang Feng's moon Hungarian, like a coquettish little girl, pressed his head tightly, and said drunkenly, "If it were an ordinary person, Kayla must have beaten him to death, and only Tang Feng could endure it as if nothing had happened. If you want to drink, there are many outside." 9 You have no power, do what you want to do. Tang Feng's tone at this moment is like the temptation of the devil. When Kayla was in a drunken state, hearing Tang Feng's words, she returned to what she said when she was 6 years old, when the god of destiny gave her strength. "You want power? Take it if you want. Use the power I gave you, whether it's to do justice or do evil, just do what you want." This sentence echoed in her mind, along with Tang Feng's guidance, and she was in a drunken state, so she didn't think about the consequences. As usual, she returned to her room, disguised herself, and flew out of the window, stumbled, no longer having the usual control, and rushed straight into a tent. The sound of roar and sonic boom slowly came out. Chapter 15 Watch movies. With a loud bang, in front of a liquor store, Kayla crashed to the ground, punched a big hole, and then staggered out casually, pushing towards the door of the shop with one hand, because when she was drunk, her shot was not serious. She pushed the door, there was another bang, and the flying door knocked down the 2 wine racks next to each other, making the sound of wine bottles breaking, and soon a pool of wine flowed out from the ground, and a smell of wine came. What? This sudden change frightened the shop owner and he screamed subconsciously, and when he saw that it was a female Superman, he reluctantly calmed down. Seeing that the female Superman was clearly drunk and wanted to cause trouble, he didn't care about the broken wine, swallowed, and asked in fear, "Supergirl man, what do you want to do?" "Wine, I want to drink." "There is a drink." Kayla shook her head drunkenly. She had seen all kinds of wine on the wine rack and smelled the smell of wine, and immediately walked to the wine rack, ignoring the shop owner. "Wine, delicious." I saw Kayla drink the wine while holding it, and she finished a bottle of wine in 2 or 3 times, and then there was another bottle of wine. "Female Superman, you can't do this, you are a robbery. Also, you have to compensate me for these broken wines. Hurry up, you can't stand it anymore." The shop owner saw Kayla grabbing the cloak behind her with one hand, and kept trapping the wine in it, and continued to drink. "Robbery. I'm going to drink, go away." Kayla waved her hand impatiently and easily pushed the shop owner away, letting him fall to the ground. His head fell first, or hit the corner of the table, and he screamed and fell with blood all over his head. Kayla, who was already drunk, didn't care about the life or death of the shop owner, and kept drinking wine until the cloak was no longer wrapped. After that, Her roar flew up, broke through the roof of the shop, flew up, and disappeared into the sky. "Ah, dead man, the female Superman did it, come on." As the female Superman left, the people nearby came over in fear and saw a messy shop. They also saw the shop owner lying on the ground. After a closer look, they found that he was dead. This time, the female Superman not only robbed blatantly, but also killed people. Compared with the previous false accusations, the evidence is now solid and it is impossible to rely on it. Beep beep, the ambulance arrived, the police car also arrived, and reporters from various news stations also arrived. What the female Superman did this time was like adding fuel to the fire, and it was even more difficult to resolve others' misunderstandings. Kayla, who had already flown away, continued to wreak havoc because she was drunk. Flying through the air, she realized that there were vehicles chasing her below. The car in front was a criminal, and the police car was chasing her from behind. According to her previous habit, she was dizzy after drinking and didn't think much about it. Like an open bullet, she rushed down and fell onto the road like a meteorite, smashing a huge crater. She emerged from the bottom of the pit and saw that the criminal's car had braked hard and was about to stop in front of her. She slapped the car gently and sent it flying on the spot, somersaulting and crashing into the shop next door, knocking out two pedestrians who had no time to escape before they stopped. Because of this, the criminals in the car are already half disabled. The two pedestrians who were hit and flew away, unfortunately died. The tragedy was not over yet. The car had leaked oil and sparked, followed by a rumble and explosion. The criminals must have all died, and the aftermath of the explosion, along with the flying car parts, also injured more than a dozen people. The scene was tragic. Kayla did not care. She shook her head drunkenly and flew away. While flying, he habitually executes justice. As a result, good intentions do bad things. Because the shot is not serious, the criminals are all injured, disabled and handicapped. For the surrounding environment, it is also greatly damaged, and many innocent people are accidentally injured. So many people die. Tonight, this is how it happened. Kayla had already flown back to the rental house and fell into a deep sleep, letting the outside world turn the world upside down and accuse her. She won't know until she wakes up. As for the culprit, Tang Feng, when he lured Kayla to rob him, he snapped his fingers with a smile to restore himself to how he was before drinking. On the way to the cinema, he already knew that Kayla had robbed and killed someone. By the way, he couldn't help but nod in satisfaction and said to himself, "Very good, you did a great job, let's continue making trouble like this." He is a movie watcher and doesn't think things will be big, and Kayla's problem is that the bigger the better. "Wow, you are so beautiful tonight." As soon as Tang Feng arrived at the cinema, he saw that Gwen had already been waiting here. I saw that she was wearing a short-sleeved lace skirt, high-heeled shoes, and a little makeup on her face, making her look even more beautiful. Around the cinema, the people walking by, whether they were men or women, couldn't help but look at Gwen. The man must have been fascinated by Gwen. Even if his female partner pinched him, he was still reluctant to look away as he gasped in pain. As for women, they are envious and jealous. If they can have a beauty like Gwen at the cost of living a few years less, they will definitely agree. "Hey, you're late." Although Gwen was very happy with Tang Feng's compliment, she still couldn't hold back her anger. Tang Feng smiled and pointed at the clock hanging on the cinema ticket booth. Without arguing, he simply nodded and admitted his mistake, pulled her small hand forward and walked towards the drink counter. "I want to drink milk tea." "Milk tea? Are you sure? I heard that drinking milk tea will make you fat." "I'm not that easy to gain weight. I'll drink it." 99 "Okay, listen to you." Tang Feng raised his hand and gave in. He will be a loving boyfriend tonight. After buying the milk tea, it was almost time for the movie ticket. Tang Feng and Gwen walked in according to the screening room number at the movie entrance. I saw that there were already a lot of people in the screening room, all men and women. Tang Feng took Gwen to find her place, sat down and waited for the movie to start. It didn't take long for the lights to go out and the movie started to play. It's a romance and it's very suitable for men and women to watch together. It didn't take long for the movie to start. Because of the plot, there were some strange sounds one after another. In response, Gwen blushed and fidgeted. In the dark, Tang Feng smiled and acted. Chapter 16 Progress. After the movie, Tang Feng and Gwen walked out hand in hand, and the relationship between men and women was already established. In just one movie, Tang Feng's strategy for Gwen has already made a substantial breakthrough. It's so easy, so simple. This is definitely for Tang Feng. If it's for the other guys, it must not be so easy to get to Gwen. Next, go shopping after watching the movie. This kind of thing will definitely not happen. Strike while the iron is hot. Tang Feng took Gwen to the hotel. No, before I went out, I told Dad that I would be back before 12 o'clock. Okay, there are still 2 hours before 12 o'clock. It still won't work. My father is the director of law enforcement and has a keen sense of observation. If we had such a relationship without his consent, then if he found out, he would not forgive me and would not be 997. I will let you go. A little further away from the hotel, Gwen blushed and took Tang Feng's hand, looking for various reasons, but he didn't want to leave. Jingle, jingle. At this moment, Gwen's cell phone rang, and as soon as she took it out, she saw that the caller ID was dead. She immediately raised a finger and shrugged at Tang Feng, making a gesture not to speak. Tang Feng nodded with a smile. Hey, Dad, what's wrong? It's nothing. I'll be at Mattie's house and give her lessons. Don't worry, I won't lie to you. Don't you know what kind of person I am? I won't go out and waste your time. Eh? Aren't you going home? Is there a lot of work to do? Well, stay safe. Well, I see. Bye. Gwen turned off the phone and was relieved. When she first heard that Dad was calling, she was worried that he would question him carefully, but she just said a few words to him and let it go. She also knew the reason, because the female Superman did a lot of things tonight, so as the chief of the police, he was very busy and didn't have time to go home and take care of her. It seems that your dad won't be home tonight, so I shouldn't be afraid to find out. So, can we go? Tang Feng hugged Gwen and said with a chuckle. Gwen rolled her eyes, her ears were red, her face was very tangled. She hesitated for a while, made a last struggle and said, Today, we just established a relationship. And now we need that. Is it progressing too fast? I ask you, we met a few days ago, and today is the second time we met, so why did we confirm our relationship so quickly? At the cinema. You promised to be my girlfriend. And, Tang Feng said with a wicked smile, but Gwen covered his mouth with one hand and blushed, preventing him from continuing to say the rest of the words. Embarrassing dead man. Well, Tang Feng won't say it, prove it with actions. On the street where people come and go, a couple hugging each other and no mouth, this kind of thing is not uncommon in country M, so all the pedestrians smile, don't care too much, and walk away. That's it. Gwen gave Tang Feng no mouth, stopped struggling, and followed after him. Tang Feng at the hotel. What a beautiful night view. 35 beautiful women are also more beautiful. At 11:50, Tang Feng wrapped a towel and opened the curtains, admiring the night view outside the window, and also looked back at the lazy beauty lying down, which was even more beautiful than the night view. He is in a very good mood now. Occupying Gwen's heart and body is second, and there are better things, because Gwen was originally the first love of the second-generation Spider-Man, and the ending would also be death. As a result, because of his intervention, the second-generation Spider-Man's first love was gone. With his protection, Gwen would not die. So, Gwen's fate has changed, including that of the second-generation Spider-Man. This change of fate, all kinds of karma, and cause and effect, are all resources that can make Tang Feng a full meal. In this way, Tang Feng is closer to the 7th level. If the 7th level has a standard value of 100%, then Tang Feng's comprehension progress is already 20%. Before today, it was 18%, and Kayla's actions tonight, caused by cause and effect, caused the progress to increase by 1%. The remaining 1% is given by Gwen. In fact, the reason why Tang Feng was able to achieve 20% progress so quickly was because when he first woke up, he was not at the 6th level, but directly at about 15%. To use an analogy, they are two people who have just advanced an 8, one is a very ordinary innate master, and the other can beat ordinary innate people 0. The reason why there is such a big gap is because the day after tomorrow, people who can hang ordinary innate people have a solid foundation, and they also have aptitude, comprehension and other reasons. Tang Feng is also like this, so when he woke up, it was not the case that he had just advanced to the 6th level. When he first woke up, his progress was 15%. Now, after 5 or 6 days, it has increased by 5%. This kind of progress is already very fast. Even if the progress goes further, the difficulty of comprehension will increase, but he has reason to believe that as long as he continues to do things, the progress of comprehension will definitely accelerate and will not slow down much. As a result, Kayla and Spider-Man and others, including all superheroes, will not have a better life. But well, although life is difficult, Tang Feng will not let the superhero die casually. The superhero is like precious ingredients, which can constantly generate resources to keep Tang Feng full. If a superhero dies, although it can give him a full meal, it is a one-time deal and there will be no more in the future. Tang Feng can also do this kind of exhaustion in fishing, as long as there is enough reason. Now, he will not do it. He is eating very high and there is no reason to kill voluntarily. You have to remember that if Mom wakes up tomorrow and asks about me, she will say that I came back last night and I have already gotten up and went to school. 4.7 Okay, as long as you promise to do so, I will agree to your conditions. 35 Okay, then don't disturb your sleep, goodbye. Tang Feng heard that Gwen was on the phone, and it was his brother and sister who answered the phone. Knowing that his mother had already slept a long time ago, he didn't plan to go back, and made a confession to his younger brother and sister. After Tang Feng heard this, he turned around and laughed softly. Gwen hung up the phone, gave Tang Feng a white look, and said angrily, "You are still smiling. If it weren't for you, I would have gone home a long time ago." No way. Now his body is weak and he can't get up at all, so he has to join hands with his younger siblings and deceive his parents. Chapter 17 The second day, a different life. The next morning. "Oh, I'm going to be late, let's go. Get up quickly," Gwen urged as she hurriedly got dressed. Tang Feng looked at her with a smile, but didn't listen to her. Instead, he stopped her and continued to laugh. "Okay, I have a way to ask for leave. I won't lie to you," Tang Feng said. Gwen accepted it with a push. At the same time, the 3 Spider-Men also woke up. As soon as the 3 of them woke up, they jumped onto the roof, and the spikes on their hands allowed them to hang their bodies firmly. The original myopia has not only returned to normal, but also more clearly, and even the mosquito lines can be seen clearly. The change is not only that, the body has become very strong, it is also very flexible. The rebound is very strong, and the senses are very sensitive. The super spider telepathy can make them see at a range of 360 degrees, and when they concentrate, it seems to be in a static state. Zhuo 9 has changed a lot because of the spider, from an ordinary person to an extraordinary Spider-Man. Among them, the first generation Spider-Man has the ability to spray webs from the wrist, while the second and third generations do not have the ability to spray webs by themselves. Then, when they were shocked by the changes in their bodies, they hurried to school. At school today, according to the inertia of the plot, the 3 of them will act once. However, the simulation of the second generation and the third generation were a perfect success. The first generation was not so lucky and their simulation failed. Boom. When fist collided with fist, there was a dull and loud noise. That kind of force was undoubtedly very strong. After hearing it, the surrounding students couldn't help but gulp. "These are 2 monsters." "Okay, Parker, I didn't expect you to change so much after only 1 day of not seeing you. If I hadn't reacted faster, I would have hit you." Thompson twisted his neck and clenched his fists with both hands, making a creaking sound, and said in surprise. On yesterday's visit, Thompson also had an adventure. He was also bitten by a genetically modified spider. The difference is that this transgenic spider integrates the genes of electric eels and cheetahs. It has the ability to store electricity and discharge electricity, which is the ability of the electric eel gene, and the speed, agility, strong body, and beastly intuition of a cheetah. As for the original ability of the spider, it may have been covered by the genes of electric eels and cheetahs, So it is gone. Therefore, Thompson, who was bitten by a genetically modified spider, is different from the abilities of the three Spider-Men. As Tang Feng said, with the speed of a cheetah and the help of electricity, he is a real name now. If it weren't for so many people watching, he really wanted to use the electricity stored in his body to give Parker a taste of what it's like to be electrified. You've changed a lot too. The first-generation Spider-Man took a deep breath, and the super-powerful spider telepathy constantly warned him that Thompson was very dangerous and could threaten his life, because they were both astonished by each other's changes, and they were unsure of taking each other down all at once, and they all tacitly stopped considering that there were people around. I'm very interested in your changes, and I think you are also interested in my changes, so after school, let's find a remote place and have a good chat. Definitely, if you're scared, just pretend I didn't say it, and you can continue to be a turtle, Thompson whispered in his ear as he walked past a generation of Spider-Man. I'll be there. A generation of Spider-Man stared at Thompson, without hesitation for long, nodding affirmatively. Now that he has the power, he is no longer an ordinary person, and there is no need to be afraid of Thompson. Even Thompson has changed astonishingly, but he has also changed. If the two are at the same level, he is not weaker than others. Okay, it seems that you have become braver. See you after school. Thompson raised his eyebrows, nodded, and walked away. Hello Parker, what did he just say to you? Also, it is really surprising that you dared to fight with Thompson just now. How did you suddenly become so bold? What is even more surprising is that your strength seems to have increased a lot. 5 Harry walked over, asked with concern, and couldn't help but be curious, and wanted to touch the arm of the first-generation Spider-Man. He didn't tell me anything. 35 Don't say you're surprised. I'm also very surprised. I didn't expect Heavenly Kung Fu to be so powerful. Take your hand away, don't touch it, I don't like men. The first-generation Spider-Man rolled his eyes and quickly found a reason to slap Harry's hand away, saying, I heard that Heavenly Kung Fu is very powerful, but I didn't expect you to secretly learn it, Parker. Mary Jane also walked over and said in astonishment, ha ha ha, it's very powerful, no one will be able to bully me in the future. When the goddess of secret love was astonished, the look in her eyes that looked at him differently was different from the usual attitude of ignoring him, which made a generation of Spider-Man feel refreshed, so happy. The whole person floated and said proudly, seeing a generation of Spider-Man changed his usual cowardice and became more confident. This sudden reversal change made Mary Jane look at him with splendor. Eyes, and was a little curious about him. A generation of Spider-Man noticed that Mary Jane was curious about him and had an illusion that the beauty that he could successfully hold would return. Unfortunately, the illusion is an illusion in the end and will not become reality. Mary Jane is vain and has a dream of becoming a star, so Harry, who is the husband of the Golden Turtle, is her ideal boyfriend. It was almost noon. A burst of earth-shaking screams spread everywhere, shocking everyone in the community. Some elderly people had heart problems and couldn't bear the shock, and were almost sent to the hospital for rescue. Gayla, who was the culprit, was no longer in the mood to deal with this. She finally woke up, and then recalled her unrestrained behavior last night. Looking at the wine bottles placed on the ground, her whole body was not well. The heart is already cold. The television was still not turned off. It was broadcast all day and night, and it was still a news broadcast. It was broadcasting about the various crimes committed by the female Superman last night. Kayla's heart sank every time she heard about her crime, until it sank into the abyss. There is no help. The reputation is irrecoverable. The above 3 sentences are Kayla's current mood. She cried with remorse, ruffled her hair with her hands, and looked pitiful, like a puppy abandoned by its owner. Chapter 18 Paradise Island and the Sea Clan. In the afternoon, it was time to go to school, and no matter how reluctant Gwen was, she had to part ways with Tang Feng for the time being and went home. Tang Feng also returned to the rented house. As soon as he entered, he saw Kayla sitting on the ground, her legs bent and her head down. She looked pitiful and abandoned, which made people look pitying. What a good girl, to be destroyed by him like this. What a sin! Tang Feng strangely thought in his heart that in order to improve his strength as soon as possible, he would need more care from Kayla in the future. Therefore, it is not right to be decadent like this. He needs to cheer himself up as soon as possible. Although I don't know what happened to you, now is not the time for you to be decadent. When I came back, I saw on news that a group of terrorists were causing trouble in 30 City. That place, if I remember correctly, should be your hometown. Tang Feng picked up the remote control and changed channels at random. The news broadcast in the video was exactly what he had just said. It's really my hometown, Dad, Mom. The chaos in her hometown caused by the terrorists finally made Kayla recover from her decadent state. She screamed in panic, daring not to waste time, and hurriedly returned to the room, briefly tidied up her appearance, and then walked out. I bid farewell to Tang Feng and left in a hurry. After leaving Tang Feng's sight, Kayla transformed into a female Superman and quickly flew back to her hometown. What would you do if you saw your relatives being killed with your own eyes? Oh. Tang Feng stood by the window, looking into the distance. He could see Kayla flying over, and said with a low smile, at this moment, he is like a big boss behind the scenes, specializing in things. Roar whistled, and a white line crossed high in the sky, breaking through the clouds, until the white line reached the end, and the sound of breaking the sound barrier slowly came. Director, the female Superman has appeared. Shield, Trident Headquarters Building, Nick Fury's office. Hill walked in with a serious face and said, all right, continue to pay close attention to her whereabouts, summon the captain and them, and be ready to attack at any time. Nick Fury was sitting at the back of the office, and as he spoke, he turned around and walked back, only to see him holding the orange cat. Director, do you really want to do this? We all know that the female Superman has always been righteous and cannot be a bad person. Recently, it was the contradictions that the newspaper industry first stirred up for the sake of profit that caused such a tense situation. Are we really going to fight against the female Superman for those black-hearted businessmen who only care about making money? Hill said reluctantly. That's not the case. We're not for anyone, and all the time, everything we do is for the defense of all mankind. Whether the female Superman is good or evil, no matter how much good she has done, I only see what she does now. What she is doing now is undoubtedly a crime, and she is on the side of evil. She is different from ordinary criminals. With her strength, she can easily cause great harm, and there will be many casualties. 99 So, we have to keep an eye on her from now on. Yes, the female Superman has done a lot of good things before, and I know that the female Superman has become like this now, from a good person to a street mouse who is yelled at and beaten by everyone, and is also forced by others. However, even so, the female Superman cannot be allowed to act recklessly. I see. Hill was silent for a moment, then sighed and nodded. Then, she asked worriedly, we all know that the power of the female Superman is terrible. So if she is about to destroy, will the captain and the others be able to fight against her? 5 I have no confidence at all, even if I know that the captain and the others are not human, but the female Superman is even more inhuman and the strength is not of the same level, so Hill is very worried. I definitely know the captain and they can't beat the female Superman. Don't worry though, didn't we know Hulk's hiding place in the first 3 days? And you also know that I sent Black Widow and Carter to contact him? Nick Fury said with a smug smile. Could it be? Hill's face was stunned for a moment. He immediately guessed something. His eyes widened, and said in surprise. Regarding this, Nick Fury nodded affirmatively. 10,000 meters away from Trident headquarters, a fighter plane was rapidly approaching, carrying 3 people, namely Black Widow, Carter, and a studious man with glasses. At the same time, a young girl full of curiosity about the world has just left the Paradise Island where she has lived for hundreds of years and has set foot on the American continent. This is her journey of experience. She has only one firm idea, that is, to accomplish what her ancestors could not do, to find Ares, the god of war, and then kill him. Today too, under the sea, a race that had always lived in peace finally gave way to a storm. This is a city under the sea, with a powerful shield that can withstand the pressure of the mighty deep sea. The race living in this city, called Atlantis, is a marine race that is very similar to humans. Vertical bar Your Majesty, it's not good, Princess Mira has fled. What? When the queen heard the report from the guard maid, she angrily turned her back to the door and saw that it was a beautiful young girl with an enchanting charm, and she was the queen. Gather the soldiers and make sure to bring Mira back to me. Wait, Lady Queen, let me go, I will bring my sister back safely. At this moment, Nuo, a young man in battle armor walked in and said respectfully, his name is Orm, and he is Mira's elder brother. Okay, I don't care about your work. Then you have to bring Mira back quickly, since the day is about to end. She suddenly ran away. Isn't this nonsense? The queen said angrily. Don't worry, I will do it. 35 lowered his head and replied softly, with a sinister smile on the corner of his mouth. No one noticed. He roared in his heart, I am the eldest son, my ability is stronger than Mira. If I am the king, I will definitely be better than anyone else. Why am I not the one who takes the throne? He very resents the ancient tradition of Atlantis. Only women of the royal family can be kings. What kind of ghost tradition is this? He very suspected that the ancient Aquaman, according to legend, was a perverted old man, black and female Superman. Come on, those pesky assholes are catching up with us again. Evacuate, leave quickly. Damn it, it's too late. Everyone, come with me and fight with them. In a small village, the terrorists who had just fled here saw that the military soldiers who were closely following them had blocked the road, and there were soldiers in the rear intercepting them. They knew that there was no way to escape. In desperation, they had to desperately counterattack. Thus, a fierce firefight began in the village, and the village residents who had no time to escape were either hit by stray bullets, or were injured or killed. Team 5 hurriedly went to evacuate the village residents. Teams 6 and 7 went to set up an isolation belt around the area. The rest of the teams followed me and must be killed. 35 The commander is a man of iron and blood. In order to kill these terrorists, even if he knew that a shootout in the small town would endanger the lives of innocent people, he ordered restraint. Sir, innocent people have already died from stray bullets. It is not good to continue like this. Even if you can successfully kill the terrorists, you will be sent to a military court afterwards. The messenger beside him said anxiously, even if they are taken to a military court, I will not let them escape. The commander-in-chief said bitterly, even if 997 killed many innocent people for this, do you still insist on doing this? The herald is making his last effort, he said. To his question, the commander did not answer, remained silent for a moment, then waved his hand. Go on, just do your thing, you don't need to worry about other things. 99 Yes, sir. With a disappointed look, the messenger quickly left. The commander looked around at the place where the battle was fierce, and he could see that the townspeople who had no time to escape were all the townspeople fled in panic, hit by stray bullets, and fell to the ground one after another. Although he couldn't bear it, when he thought that his wife and daughter had been ruined by the terrorists in front of him, his strong hatred made him harden his heart. No matter how many innocent citizens are killed or injured, as long as the terrorists can be killed, it will be worth it to him. As for the consequences, he didn't care at all. However, he won't know that the consequences he can think of are far from going to a military court and being sentenced. The army soldiers were on both sides of the town, blocking the terrorists on the street in the middle, and the citizens who have not had time to escape are caught in the middle of soldiers and terrorists. On both sides. There are nearly 40 or 50 residents in these small towns. The protesters hide inside the car, panicking, or hide on the sides of the car, or crouch by the wall, or just climb onto the ground, screaming in fear. There were shops on both sides of the street, but because the people hiding inside were afraid, they closed the doors tightly and did not dare to open them. A group of terrorists. There are still 33 people. 18 of them are leaning on the lined-up cars as cover and shooting back. They also thought of hiding in the shops on both sides, but they couldn't do it, and there were snipers watching. As long as anyone dared to run away from the covered car, they would be killed on the spot. The remaining 15 people had already hidden in a convenience store in time and were also shooting, trying to cover their companions in the store. "Please open the door. Open the door, please." "Honey, wait and you'll be fine." 35 On the street where gunshots were flying, near a restaurant, there were two old couples outside the door, and the old man kept patting the door and begging and shouting. I saw that the old man was holding his wife, who was already weak and pale, and her abdomen was bleeding. It turned out that he had been hit by a stray bullet. "Dear, I have to go first, you must live. Kayla wants you to help me take care of her. She is not married yet. I can't wait. You can help me continue to wait." 35 After hearing the old woman's breathless words, she slowly closed her eyes, her head hung weakly, her hands fell to the ground weakly, and she was already dead. "No, no, dear, don't close your eyes. Open your eyes. Open them." 99 You opened the door. Why didn't you open the door before? Why didn't you open the door? 9 The old man cried bitterly and kept knocking on the door with his hands. As she screamed in pain, her body froze, her face stiffened, and a pool of blood flowed out from her back. Whether she was shot or mortally wounded, the old man fell down and hugged the old woman tightly before dying. They couldn't live together, but they could die together. No. In the distant sky, a white line was drawn towards this side at high speed. That was the trajectory of Kayla's flight. No matter how fast she flew, she couldn't keep up. The astonishing sight allowed her to clearly see the death of her parents. This kind of human tragedy made her very sad. Her eyes widened, she shook her head and screamed frantically. Roar! Kayla finally arrived. She suddenly fell to the ground, made a huge movement, and suddenly the gunshots stopped temporarily. Whether it was military soldiers or terrorists, they all looked at the female Superman. Kayla ignored the gazes of these people and knelt in front of her dead parents, exuding a deathly aura. "Dead, dead, Dad, Mom, dead." This was Kayla's desperate murmur. In her thoughts, she recalled the warm memories with her parents one by one. Then, what she had seen and heard before coming came to her mind. People hiding in restaurants. There's a knock on the door outside. Should we open the door? Are you dying? There's a gunfight outside. Isn't it courting death to open the door? But what? Do you want to go? As soon as these words came out, there was silence. Whoever told the people outside that they didn't come in time will die, and even if we hid here now, we might not be able to survive. It was someone's murmur, and Kayla heard it too. And the commander's words, "Attack, continue to attack, be sure to kill all the terrorists. No matter how many innocent citizens die by mistake, I will bear the consequences. Attack, give me more firepower and keep attacking." Every gunshot and every shout from the captain commander pierced Kayla's heart like sharp arrows, making her feel suffocated, uncomfortable, and angry like an erupting volcano. Then, this is what she sees: a stray bullet, fired by the military, penetrated straight into her father's back and penetrated deep into her heart. The memory ends here. Kayla was silent and scared. She stood up quietly, raised her head slowly, tears kept falling, and looked at the restaurant, with a flickering energy gathering in her eyes. "My parents can die, why can't you too?" Chapter 20 Mermaids Chasing Fighters. As Kayla whispered, two heat beams shot out from her eyes, piercing the restaurant in one fell swoop and then exploding. The people hiding in the restaurant were definitely dead. Shock, shock, then panic. This is the emotion of everyone at the scene. Their pupils enlarged subconsciously and stared at the female Superman. Whether it is a military soldier or a terrorist, when they see the female Superman who just appeared, kneeling in front of an old couple and showing great sadness, they already have an ominous premonition. One thing they vaguely guessed was that the deceased old couple was related to the female Superman, possibly a relative. For a long time, no one knew the true identity of the female Superman. Now that we know that the deceased old couple was related to the female Superman, we will be able to find out the true identity of the female Superman. However, this is the future. No one is happy, but scared. If the guess is true, then didn't the female Superman's relatives indirectly die by her hands? What are the consequences of killing the female Superman's relatives? There is already an answer. The destruction of the restaurant is the response of the female Superman, who wants to take revenge one by one to avenge her dead relatives. Next is you. After Kayla destroyed the restaurant, her figure flashed and appeared in front of the messenger at a speed invisible to the naked eye. She held his collar with one hand, lifted him up, and said indifferently, she saw with her own eyes that stray bullets were shooting out of the messenger's mouth. Forgive. Life. No, no. Kill me. The messenger forcefully pulled Kayla's fingers with both hands and stomped her feet. Roar had difficulty breathing, his face gradually turned blue, and he spoke with difficulty, begging for mercy. I forgive you, then why can't you forgive my parents? 2 lines of tears flowed down Kayla's pretty face on both sides. With a soft click, the tears fell to the ground and shattered, just like his heart, which also shattered and died. The death of his parents made his originally colorful world turn gray. Kayla's hand held him slowly and tightly. The messenger's neck was about to be strangled, and before he died of suffocation, he would die from the rupture of his throat and the fracture of his cervical vertebra. The messenger was desperate. He heard the words of the female Superman and knew that there was no way out, who told him to be so unlucky that he mistakenly killed the female Superman's parents. Wait, I ordered the attack. I will take full responsibility for it. If you want to kill me, kill me. Please let him go. He is innocent. At this moment, the captain in command stood up and said loudly. Kayla paused, raised her head, and let out a sad laugh. She strangled the messenger immediately, threw him to the ground, turned around and walked towards the commander step by step, full of anger, so that the words she said were squeezed out from between her teeth. I know, and I hear it. You keep shouting attack, attack, attack. Walking in front of the commanding captain, Kayla grabbed his hair with one hand, smashed it to the ground, and then lifted it up again, covered in blood, and continued. You also said, let them attack. What's wrong? You will bear the consequences. You don't care how many innocent citizens die because of it. The death of my parents. You won't care. Kayla said each word in a stern voice, then grabbed his head and smashed it against the ground. The smashing would not stop until his head was smashed. This is the first time Kayla has committed such a brutal murder. Because of her hatred, she did not feel disgusted or regretful at all. But she was even more sad. She raised her head and screamed. Her right hand was stained with the red and white things in her brain, and her sad back looked like the devil in the movie. When he lost his lover, he was going to kill. In fact, the original Superman, who happened in a parallel universe because of the death of a lover, was also blackened. Kayla witnessed the death of her parents with her own eyes, and finally broke down with the experience of the past few days, and her righteous heart sank into darkness. It seems that the situation is not good. We will retreat. Among the military soldiers, there are still smart people who look at the female Superman in fear, give a little warning, and then quietly sneak away. Unfortunately, their actions could not be hidden from Kayla, and 2 heat rays immediately split her body in half. Immediately afterwards, when Kayla looked away and slowly turned around, 2 heat rays followed. Whether it was a military soldier or a terrorist, they were all attacked, and each of them died tragically when their bodies were cut in half in a tragic howl. A vehicle was also attacked by a heat ray, which exploded on the spot. Shield, Trident Headquarters Building. The female Superman Kayla Kent has started a killing spree. Let's do it. 35 Nick Furchin sat behind a desk with a document, a detailed profile of Kayla's family of 3, with pictures of Kayla and photos of her parents. It was no coincidence. Through advanced satellite observation, everything that happened in the city was known to SHIELD. As a result, Kayla's true identity is also revealed. 0. Led by Captain, Winter Soldier, Black Widow, Carter, Hawkeye, and the newly added Dr. Banner, a total of 6 people formed a temporary combat team, boarded the fighter plane, and rushed to the city where the female Superman was located. I hope everything goes well for you and you succeed in getting the female Superman back. Nick Fury stood by the window, watching the fighter plane disappear into the sky, thinking in his heart. In his opinion, the female Superman has been blackened because of the death of her parents. Her past kindness is gone, and now some are cruel and ruthless murders. Since when she was in the small town and wanted to kill people, she might be judged. Therefore, He can no longer let the female Superman continue to wander around, in order to prevent the possibility of more people dying. Before that, he will capture the female Superman and imprison her. Oh, why is this happening? The female Superman is obviously on the side of justice, but now she's become like this, she's forced. Hill stood behind Nick Fry with an unbearable expression. You're right, she was forced. But, whatever the reason, it's wrong to be wrong and doing wrong must be punished. Remember, we're agents, and everything we do is to protect humanity and maintain peace, and we can't act on personal emotions. Nick Fury turned around, and the one-eyed man stared at Hill, warning. I see. Hill took a deep breath and nodded silently. Huh? What's that? A strange big bird? Huh? Could it be a so-called human-made plane? A fighter plane flew high in the sky, leaving behind a white line that was slowly disappearing. Below it was a large lake, leading straight into the sea. A head emerged from the lake. It was a suffocatingly beautiful face, blinking with bright and curious eyes, and said strangely, out of curiosity. She sank back into the lake, manipulated the current, and chased along the river. If there was no river channel, she would control the flow of water, hold it up, and fly, chasing after the fighter plane. When she jumped out of the river, at that moment, she was like a legendary mermaid. That tight-fitting battle armor set off her body exquisitely, coupled with her beauty and unique temperament. She was indeed a rare beauty in the world. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 21 Tang Feng's Chessboard. Alright, Kayla has already been blackened, and she is already on the side of the evil side. Next, as the captain of the righteous side and others, they will try to capture Kayla. Well, there is Dr. Banner on the captain's side. With the power of Hulk, Kayla can be defeated. However, Kayla can fly, and even if she can't win, she can retreat. Just now Kayla is very sad and grumpy. Her mind is no longer rational, and she will fight to the end with the captain and the others. 35 If there had been no accidents, Kayla would have been defeated and captured. That won't work. Then I will add an accident. New City rents a house here. Tang Feng is playing Go with himself. Basie represents the captain and others, and Sunspot represents Kayla. I saw that there were 6 Basie and they wanted to besiege Kayla. Sunspot. However, Tang Feng picked up a Sunspot 000 and blocked the only remaining chess exit. In other words, Kayla's Sunspot dilemma has been solved. The newly added Sunspot represents Mara. In fact, Tang Feng didn't really know the existence of the C-Clan at first, because there are too many trajectories of destiny in the world. He didn't have the patience to see them clearly. Only when he wants to know whose trajectory of destiny will he see specifically. Therefore, it is impossible for him to meet Mara without knowing the existence of the C-Clan. When Mara escapes from the underwater city and sets foot on the mainland, Mara's fate will be doomed to be entangled with the superhero. This change caught Tang Feng's attention, and after some investigation, he easily learned of Mara's existence. Almost at the same time, because another girl left Paradise Island and set foot on the mainland, her fate gradually became involved with superheroes. In this way, Tang Feng knew that when he was sleeping, he also created the C-Clan in Paradise Island. This is the Marvel Universe. I didn't expect DC characters to appear. It's nonsense and they are all self-made. Tang Feng complained to himself in his heart. Well, Kayla is the female Superman, Mara is the future Aquaman, the girl from Paradise Island is undoubtedly Wonder Woman Diana, except that Kayla is a female Superman. Unlike the original Superman, Mara and Diana look exactly the same as the originals. If there is any difference, it is because of their unconscious thoughts that make them more beautiful, more temperamental, and better fit. Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman are all there, but what about Green Lantern, The Flash, and Batman? There will also be 3 female versions, right? Tang Feng shuddered when he thought of this possibility. A little disgusting. Kayla is not the original Superman. Mara is already there, just replacing Aquaman's role. Wonder Woman is simply the original. Therefore, The above three, such as Superman, Aquaman, Wonder Woman respectively, can be said to be no problem. If it is said that Batman, Green Lantern, and the Flash are also women, Tang Feng really can't think of a female role to replace. What he subconsciously thinks of is the women's clothing boss. The women's clothing boss can't afford it. He definitely doesn't want this. This is his true thought. Maybe it is also this thought when he is asleep, unconscious. Anyway, when he searched the trajectory of destiny, there was no trace of Batman, Green Lantern, and the Flash in this universe. This shows that these three people do not exist. Nothing is right. Tang Feng was really relieved, and then focused on Kayla's hometown. It was because of his influence that Mera became curious about the fighter plane and chased it. With Mera's help, Kayla will not get lost even if she is defeated. Captain, they are here and the fight with Kayla is about to begin. Tang Feng looked out the window in the distance and could clearly see that fighter planes had flown near the war-torn city, and some of the houses had collapsed, as if they had been destroyed by the war. This is the destruction that the female Superman caused, by the way, when she killed both military soldiers and terrorists. At this moment, Kayla is no longer in the city. She hugged her dead parents and returned to the farmhouse. She buried her parents in the farmland with her own hands. She was mourning and did not leave. So instead of stopping in the city, the fighter planes continued to fly towards Kayla's farm. Mera manipulated the water flow, chased after the fighter plane, and bypassed the city. She just watched curiously and did not care. She has always been in the city under the sea, belonging to the sea clan, not a human being. She just ran away from home, because the ocean is gradually polluted by the garbage thrown by humans. This situation is like my house being dirty by humans. Therefore, Mera and the rest of the sea clan only feel disgust for humans, but have no good feelings for them. Even Mera's mother is no exception. Unlike DC's Fate, the queen of this universe has never been to land and has never fallen in love with humans, so she will not have a good impression of humans. At the speed of a fighter jet, it took less than half a minute to reach Kayla's farm from the city. With the sound of jet flames, the fighter jet landed vertically 10 meters away from Kayla. Kayla knelt in front of her parents' graves and fell into a world of pain and mourning, completely ignoring the arrival of the captain and the others. The hatch of the fighter jet opened, and a ladder was lowered from the fighter plane. First, the captain held a shield and walked with a serious face. Following the captain were Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Carter, and the last one was Dr. Banner. Superman girl Kayla Kent, because of the crimes you committed in the city, you cannot be forgiven, so we are here to catch you. I know what happened and what you have done all this time. Please believe me and I will give you a fair trial. The captain walked up to Kayla within 3 meters, stopped, and said seriously. In this regard, Kayla did not hear him, did not respond at all, and was still immersed in her own world. The captain frowned upon seeing Kayla like this, and continued, Kayla Kent, if you don't speak, I'll take it as your acquiescence. After speaking, he turned his head and gestured towards Dr. Banner. Dr. Banner was a little nervous, pointing at himself and silently asking, Me? The captain nodded affirmatively, and Black Widow and the others also tacitly stepped back a few steps and gave up Dr. Banner's position. Dr. Banner drummed his hands inwardly and looked left and right at the temporary comrades in arms. How could he feel that he was taking the blame? This was the battle plan agreed upon in advance, and when he came, he couldn't turn back. So he took out the vibranium handcuffs and cautiously walked towards Kayla step by step. Chapter 22 Female Superman vs. Hulk. Well, I'm going to handcuff you now, do you hear me? If you don't answer, I'll take it as your default. Dr. Banner asked tentatively. Seeing that Kayla didn't answer, he took a deep breath and grabbed the handcuffs, nervously trying to reach for Kayla's handcuffs. Just as he was about to handcuff Kayla's left hand, Dr. Banner was too nervous, and his heart rate was beating so fast that it was approaching the critical point, and green skin had spread from his neck. Not good. Dr. Banner made a roaring sound, kept inhaling and exhaling, trying to calm his nervous emotions and stop the urge to transform. Transforming, he doesn't object. Before coming, he has already prepared in his heart. However, now that Kayla's hands are about to be handcuffed, and the purpose must be fulfilled. He can't transform at such a critical moment. Huh? Where is the hand? Dr. Banner was distracted because he wanted to suppress the urge to transform, and when he was about to continue, he unexpectedly found that Kayla's hand was missing. When he was stunned, he heard the shocking sound of the captain and the others, and then a fist O9 enlarged in his eyes, hit him in the face with a bang, and sent him flying 100 meters away. While Dr. Banner screamed and flew upside down, Hulk came out and recovered his injuries in an instant. He spat out a mouthful of saliva, got up from the ground, looked at the female Superman, hit each other with both fists, and let out a roar. Hulk remembers the female Superman, the worst one ever hit, and the strongest. So as soon as he saw the female Superman, it was like seeing the enemy he was always thinking of. After roaring, he leaped forcefully, crossed the distance of 100 meters, approached Kayla, threw his right fist back, twisted, and moved towards Kayla, hit in the face. "This is where my parents are buried, get out of here." Kayla was already sober when she shot Dr. Banner. She wouldn't be caught without her hands, and she would obediently accept the test. She resisted. With the same roar, Kayla's reaction was increasingly faster than Hulk's. She hugged Hulk's hand, twisted it, and threw it hard, and immediately threw Hulk far away from here. Then, she turned her head abruptly and looked at the captain and the others, the red cloak fluttering in the wind. Her long hair was already scattered wildly, and her eyes exuded a cold and stern look. The captain and the others were nervous and stood together, led by the captain, holding a shield against Kayla to protect themselves from her attack. Hulk was thrown 1,000 meters away, and even if he rushed back, it would take a while. This is enough time for Kayla to launch an attack. However, because she didn't want to fight here, Kayla didn't shoot, but flew to the other side and said coldly, "Aren't you coming to arrest me? Come on, as long as you can defeat me, you can judge me as you like." As Tang Feng thought, she didn't want to escape, but to fight a battle and wanted to vent the pain in her heart. Even if she might be defeated and captured, she didn't care. The captain and the others looked at each other and followed. When Kayla flew away from the kilometer, she stopped and there was a small river 100 meters behind her. Hulk arrived first, fell fiercely from the sky, and smashed a big hole. He waved away the smoke with one hand and climbed out of the pit, roaring at Kayla. Hulk spoke weirdly, I hate. Hulk wants to beat you up. I hate you too. 6 months ago, I lost, that's my shame, and today I will make it up and beat you." Kayla rose into the air, bathed in the sun, feeling the power drawn from the sun, constantly, allowing her to continue fighting. Kayla attacked first, without any acceleration, and flew right in front of Hulk, knocking him down. Immediately afterwards, Kayla chased after him and kept punching Hulk with super fast speed, causing Hulk to fly through the air like a football that was being kicked constantly. Hulk put his hands on his head, roaring non-stop, because he was in the air with nowhere to focus, and there was no way to fight back for the time being, so he could only let Kayla punch. With Kayla's current fist strength, it is more than 100 tons, and when she hits hard, she can approach 1,000 tons of punching power. With such strong power, if it weren't for Hulk's rough skin and thick flesh, and his super fast regeneration ability, he might have been beaten to death. On the contrary, Hulk not only didn't die, but felt the severe pain in his body. Her anger value was accumulating more and more, her strength was also increasing bit by bit, and her size was gradually increasing. Kayla's face turned cold. She had fought with Hulk and knew that if this continued, Hulk would only become stronger and then beat her again. That doesn't work. She already had a way to defeat Hulk in her heart and started to act. I saw that she flew above Hulk, put her hands together, tried her best to hit Hulk's head, and threw it to the ground in this way. At this time, the two people were at an altitude of 10,000 meters, which was what Kayla intentionally did when hitting Hulk. In this way, Hulk, who was hit hard on the head, was like a meteor, because the speed of the fall was too fast, and the flames were blown out of the body, and he fell involuntarily. The place where he fell is not far from the place where the war started. With a loud bang, Hulk crashed into the ground, and a bowl-shaped crater with a length of tens of meters was formed, like a crater crushed by a meteorite. The captain and the others just rushed over, stood at 000 meters, and watched the battle honestly. Damn, such a strong female Superman, with such a strong fist, only Hulk can resist. If it were them, even if it were the captain, blocking them with a shield would not be able to nullify all the force, and they would be knocked down by the recoil and be injured. Kayla followed the speed of Hulk's fall and flew down almost at the same time, without the slightest slowdown. She just stepped on Hulk's two arms with both feet, and only heard the sound of fractures. Hulk roared in pain, vomited blood, and his arm was trampled. However, it doesn't matter, he will recover soon, and his anger value is approaching the critical point of level 5. Although Hulk's anger can make him increasingly stronger, it takes a lot of anger to increase his strength to level 5. With his current strength, few people can force him to that level of anger. Only the female Superman Kayla can push Hulk to the point where he is filled with anger again and again until level 5. Because, if Hulk can't increase his strength to level 5, he will probably die. For example, now, when Kayla stepped on Hulk's hands, her eyes condensed heat ray energy and she was ready to go. She bent down, stretched out her hands, and stood Hulk's head straight, so that the two heat rays that pierced Hulk's eyes would destroy his brain. Chapter 23 Kayla's escape through the mouth. Hulk roared, struggling to turn his head to the side, staring at Kayla sideways, resisting her force, just not letting his head turn, staring at her. No matter how hard Kayla tried, she couldn't straighten Hulk's head, and she felt that Hulk's struggle was getting stronger and stronger. His arms were exerting force, and the increasing force was going to lift her up. She knew what was going on. Hulk's power became stronger because of anger, because of the crisis of death, and if she continued like this, she would soon break free from her control. I can't delay any longer, Kayla thought, and two heat rays shot out, aimed at Hulk's ear holes. Hulk let out a roar, sensing the danger in advance, and at a critical moment, he tilted his head slightly so that the two heat rays shot out from right behind his ears. Kayla saw that there was no hit, and she didn't care. So she strengthened her strength, and the two heat rays became more powerful, like two drilling rigs, to drill two holes and destroy Hulk's head. I only saw that Hulk's thick skin was worn away a little by two heat rays, revealing the skull, and then there was a cracking sound, and the skull was also worn away. Roar, 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 Hulk screamed, shook his head, struggled, and his big feet kicked out, kicking Kayla's back constantly. Kayla gritted her teeth, blood seeping from her mouth, but she held on. Both feet stomped firmly on Hulk's hands, and one hand continued to grab Hulk's head tightly to prevent him from swinging his head. Give up. Roar. Hulk let out a roar of horror, and he felt that the skull would be worn away, and then his brain would be destroyed. He felt the breath of death, and he was not sure whether he could restore the destroyed head with his regeneration power. He was struggling desperately. In this case, because he was afraid of death, his anger value rose faster, his strength increased, and his body had grown to nearly 5 meters, which was about twice the previous amount. Seeing that Hulk was about to start breaking free from Kayla's grip with his greatest strength, it was too late. The skull would wear away, just a second or two away. Hulk was desperate and roared unwillingly. At this moment, with a bang, 3 sharp arrows shot out at the same time, exploding beside Kayla's eyes. Because of this change, Kayla was stunned and blinked subconsciously, and the heat ray stopped. Hulk seized this opportunity and kicked Kayla hard with a pair of big feet, making her unstable. At the same time, both hands exerted force and finally broke free. As soon as he turned around and sat up, he grabbed Kayla's hand angrily and knocked her to the side. It wasn't over yet. Hulk grabbed Kayla like a hammer, kept hitting her on the ground no matter how many times he hit her, and finally stopped after hitting her hard. Kayla's shattered brain was dizzy, and she vomited several mouthfuls of blood in a row. She felt like her entire body was falling apart, and there was intense pain. Hulk's attack was not over yet. He jumped up, reached a height of 1,000 meters, fell extremely fast, and aimed at Kayla's head with his big feet. This is undoubtedly a bad move. After all, Hulk's IQ is not high, and he did not expect this kind of attack in advance, and it would be easily evaded. Kayla was absorbing sunlight, her body was recovering quickly, and when Hulk fell, She was able to get up and roll in a hurry, avoiding Hulk's stampede. Hulk stepped on the air, just stepping on a large pit, and smoke was rising. When Hulk used a pair of large palms to hit them and disperse the smoke, Kayla disappeared. What about people? As soon as this thought came to her mind, she heard screams. In team fights, she kills Crispy first. Originally, with Kayla's power, she only cared about Hulk, and didn't care about the captain and the others at all. However, Hawkeye tried to die. When Kayla was about to destroy Hulk's head, she shot 3 sharp arrows, interrupting her attack and saving Hulk, and also made her suffer a series of attacks from Hulk, and was almost trampled on the face. This made Kayla unbearable. Wouldn't it be nice to just watch the play from the sidelines? Why bother with her own affairs? This is courting death. Taking advantage of the cover of the smoke, Kayla appeared in front of Hawkeye and stabbed him in the heart with her right hand. The scream was made by Hawkeye before she died. Kayla pulled her hand out of Hawkeye's heart and dropped it to the ground, blood on her face, hers, and Hawkeye's. Then, he continued to attack the captain and the others. First, he punched Winter Soldier and blocked it with a steel arm, although he vomited blood and flew upside down. The steel arm was also destroyed, but a small life was saved. Then he punched the captain, but was also blocked by the shield. When the captain flew upside down, Hulk finally arrived, with a 5-meter-tall body, staring at Kayla, blocking the sunlight, his big fist raised high, and a powerful force was bursting out. Kayla's face changed. This is the 5th level power, and she finally has to face it again. Boom. Even though Kayla used her hands to protect the front, she was brutally crushed through the defense. A big fist hit her stomach, and a blood hole appeared. She screamed and flew upside down, like a water float, skimming the ground completely. She stopped as she approached the edge of the river. Apostrophe vertical bar cough, cough, cough tilde. Kayla coughed and vomited blood, clutching the blood hole in her abdomen with one hand and staggering to her feet. Why? She asked. Hulk walked over, and after hearing this, he stopped, looked at Kayla suspiciously, not understanding what it meant, and paused for a moment. Humans have always been selfish, caring only about their own interests, and like to retaliate against kindness and revenge. No matter how many times I have done good deeds before, just because of 1 or 2 accidental misunderstandings, I will be pushed into a dead end. The reason I have become like this is because humans are forced. I want to be a good person, and I have thought about it too. Even if I am misunderstood, I will stick to my principles and be a righteous female Superman. 5. However, you didn't give me a chance to be a good person. You killed my parents. Killed. You know everything about me. I know everything about you. Hulk, since you were born, you have been captured by humans. They will grab you and cut you into pieces to study. If they treat you like this, will you still work for them? Kayla shouted. It was from the heart. After saying these words in one breath, she changed her breathing and continued. I have seen the essence of humans clearly. From the moment my parents died, I abandoned my human identity. I am now a god of power, and a god of great destiny. I will use my power to rule this planet and build my own kingdom of God. 0. Kayla made the announcement loudly. Hulk tilted his head to look at Kayla and punched him, knocking her down. What the hell is God? What do you want to do? It's none of my business. This is Hulk's idea. Chapter 24. Mera comes to the rescue. What a violent beast. Kayla was slammed to the ground and looked at Hulk, her teeth tickling with hatred and a sense of helplessness. This is playing the piano for a cow. Hulk now has the power of level 5, and she can't beat him. This cruel reality finally brought her back to her senses and endured the severe pain in her body. She was about to retreat. However, Kayla had already escaped once. Hulk was already prepared, and immediately reached out, grabbed Kayla's left leg in time, and slammed her hard on the ground. Then, Hulk's big hand wrapped around Kayla's neck and lifted her up. The other left hand completely grabbed her head and began to exert force, crushing her in this way. Hulk is very vengeful. He almost destroyed Kayla's head before, and now he is going to retaliate and destroy Kayla's head. Kayla's head was about to be crushed and she couldn't help but scream. With Hulk's 5th level power, if he continues like this, his head will definitely explode on the spot like a watermelon thrown on the ground. We are here to take back the female Superman. Should we let Hulk kill her? Aside, Carter said, Hawkeye killed her. Winter Soldier put his hand on his shoulder that lost his steel arm and said coldly, Hawkeye is dead, for Kayla, Black Widow. Oh. The Captain and Carter looked sadly at the dead Hawkeye lying on the ground, clenched their fists and fell silent. After a while, the Captain took a deep breath suppressed his sadness, and said, Hawkeye killed the female Superman. This is an unresolvable hatred, but we can't kill the female Superman because of this. 35 The female Superman has done a lot of good things in the past. Even if she has changed now, she has done a lot of bad things and committed unforgivable crimes. But no matter what, she used to be a superhero. We have to give her the respect she deserves. She must be judged by the law. This is the Captain's principle, and it is also what she thinks from the heart. Well, you are the Captain, you have the final say. However, do you dare to tell Hulk to stop? The Black Widow pointed at Hulk and shook her head. Because of Tang Feng's influence, she joined S.H.I.E.L.D. shortly after becoming a super soldier, so she wouldn't have such a deep friendship with Hawkeye. Between her and Hawkeye, there is only camaraderie. So even if she was sad, she didn't lose her mind in grief, shouting that she had to kill the female Superman or something. If another person dies, it is not necessarily the case. For example, Carter, if she was killed by the female Superman, Black Widow will definitely go crazy. Carter was the first person who met Black Widow to join S.H.I.E.L.D. During the period when Black Widow first joined S.H.I.E.L.D., she also received a lot of care from Carter. Carter gave Black Widow a sense of an older sister. In fact, Black Widow has been short of love since she was a child and is eager to have family members who love her very much. She is lonely, and in another parallel universe, she will see the Avengers as her extended family. Even though Thanos snapped his fingers and wiped out half of the universe, Avengers was dead in name only, but she still stood strong to prevent Avengers from truly disbanding. Therefore, Black Widow, who is short of love, believes that Carter is her sister. She enjoys it very much and cherishes this hard-earned familial affection. Carter also has a great fondness for Black Widow and has no objection to having a younger sister. And so, they became sisters. Then, after something happened, the relationship between the sisters deteriorated, and the relationship between them became even more strange and complicated. Let's not talk about it, but after the Captain heard Black Widow's words, his expression froze, and he looked at the hideous look of Hulk who wanted to smash Kayla's head. He shook his head helplessly and smiled bitterly. He was cowardly and chose to remain silent. Now that Hulk doesn't recognize his 6 relatives, if he dares to stop him, he will definitely give him a big slap. In this way, the Captain and the others stared at Kayla's head, and they were about to be smashed. With the sound of slap, Ajay dropped a white stone from the chessboard, and the appearance of Hawkeye shooting arrows vaguely appeared on the white stone. One is out. Well, if you kill him, you will kill him. It's an unimportant role anyway. Even if you keep him, you won't get much resources. So, this first battle of righteousness and evil should also be over. On the rental side of New City, Tang Feng has been manipulating the situation behind the scenes. He knew about Hawkeye's death in advance, but he didn't want to save him, so he killed him. Seeing that Kayla was about to be pinched to death by Hulk, he touched the sunspot on behalf of Mara with his finger. At the same time, Mara, who has been hiding in the river to watch the play, has the idea of saving Kayla. There are several reasons. First, Kayla is also a woman. Second, Hulk looks so scary that he doesn't seem like a good person. Third, after hearing Kayla's words, she was sympathetic. Fourth, human beings are really not good things. They will bully good people. Fifth, I want to save. With a decision, Mara acted, manipulating the water and the entire stream. Hulk stood up and pulled Kayla and Hulk in at the same time. This accident was too sudden. Hulk gulped down several mouthfuls of water and struggled in the river without any caution. He no longer cared about pinching Kayla to death and let her go. Don't struggle, I'm here to take you away. In the turbulent river, Mara was like a flexible mermaid. The water around her did not hinder her, but instead pushed her to swim. When Hulk had just released Kayla, He swam behind Kayla, gently explained, and pulled her away. Kayla's hand was pulled away. Roar! Hulk roared at the bottom of the river. After struggling for a while, he finally came to his senses. With a punch, the water around him was pushed away, creating a vacuum. Moreover, Hulk's powerful punches caused a new channel to appear in this small river, about 10 meters wide, and the length extended to the distance, with no end in sight. The river water began to flow into this new channel. Hulk jumped back to the river bank, already knowing that Kayla had been rescued, very unhappy, roaring, looking around, trying to find Kayla's back running away. Unfortunately, Hulk was destined to be disappointed. Mera took Kayla and escaped through the water, with Mera's speed in the water, comparable to that of an airplane. When Hulk just got out of the stream, Mera took Kayla 1,000 meters away. A few minutes later, Mera took Kayla to another city through the canal hideout. Chapter 25 Hydra's Decision. Who are you? Why are you saving me? This is a seaside town. Kayla is lying on her back on the beach, basking in the sun to absorb energy, recovering from her injury, tilting her head to look at Mera, who is sitting beside her legs, and asks in confusion, "My name is Mera. I am from a sea clan. Our clan is also called Atlantis, and has always lived in the deep sea. Because I hate humans and can't stand being bullied, so I came to the rescue," Mera said with a smile. Kayla is not too surprised by Mera's identity as a sea clan, because before this, she discovered that Mera is different from human identity through observation. But she was still somewhat incredulous and said, "I didn't expect that the sea clan actually exists." It seems that the legendary mermaid is not nonsense. She is a source of evidence. 99 Also, the legend of Atlantis was not considered true, but it was in the depths of the sea and was not noticed by humans. Yes, these two legends are related to us. Although we have always lived in the depths of the sea, some of our relatives have set foot on the land in every era because of their curiosity about the land, and they have also communicated with humans. In this way, it is inevitable that some facts about us will be leaked, Mera said. She stood up. Those beautiful feet were stepping on the rough sea water, kicking and playing at will. So that's the case. So you ran away because of your curiosity about the land and humans? Kayla also stood up, spreading her arms and enjoying the sun. Guess said, "Yes." "Okay, you are about to recover from your injury, then I will leave. Goodbye." Mera nodded with a smile, waved to Kayla, and was about to return to the sea and use the channel to leave, and many more. "You have just left Atlantis, and you must be unfamiliar with the earth and humans. If you wander around like this, you will definitely attract the attention of humans. When you saved me, you offended S.H.I.E.L.D., and you also targeted S.H.I.E.L.D. So as long as you attract the attention of humans, S.H.I.E.L.D. will come to you and take action against you. You are my savior. If you don't want to be in danger, let me be your guide." 99 I can help you quickly understand human society and integrate into it. 55 Kayla spoke up to hold Mera, explaining, "You're right. I also heard that humans are developing very quickly. Unlike more than 100 years ago, the changes have been great. It's not good for me to wander around alone." "Well then, I'll stay with you for a while." Mera thought for a moment and nodded. She promised to follow Kayla on the one hand, and Kayla said the same on the other hand, because she knew that she had run away. There would be her family who obeyed the queen's order and came to look for her back. Therefore, if she attracts the attention of humans and conflicts with humans, it is bound to make a lot of noise, and it will also attract the same clan who catches her back. Thinking of this, it is a good choice for her to follow Kayla to live in human society for a while. Kayla is very happy. As long as she can keep Mera by her side, she will have the opportunity to persuade her to do great things together to rule the world. Now she has a kind of conscience that sees through the world. Since humans cannot tolerate her, she will conquer humans and create her own world. If you want to realize this ideal, it is not enough to rely on her alone. You have to recruit helpers. Undoubtedly, Mera rescued her, and she was not a human being. She was born with an aversion to humans and had great power. After that, Kayla left here with Mera. Not long after they left, a group of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents followed her. According to reports from the surrounding residents, before we came here, there were 2 women staying on the beach, and there are still traces of their existence. It should be correct. One of the women is a female Superman, and the other should be a person with super abilities who can control the flow of water. Unfortunately, they are already gone and it will be difficult to find them again. The leader was Phil Coulson, who did not meet the female Superman, and he did not know whether to be disappointed or happy. Disappointingly, the female Superman had already left early. Fortunately, her life is no longer in danger. 0. Ask for flowers. Report to the director. That's how things are. Captain, have they returned? 9. Okay, I understand. I'll close the team now. 39. Phil Coulson said. He put away the communicator and left. When he turned around, he didn't see it, and 4 or 5 of the agents showed strange expressions, and they also secretly reported the matter here to Alexander Pierce. In this parallel universe, Alexander Pierce is still the former director of S.H.I.E.L.D. He once ordered the captain and others to execute justice. It's very funny, the dignified high-level personnel of Hydra, because of their good disguise, stand tall in the open. On the surface they are the director of justice, but secretly they are Hydra people. Oh, no one noticed this. However, although Pierce disguised himself well, but because of the scruples of the captain and others, he always acted carefully, and even more carefully. As a result, the Hydra spy he secretly developed was not progressing very fast, and so far, it only occupies 1/3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents. In addition, Nick Fury has the support of the captain and others, and has a good control over S.H.I.E.L.D. It is not easy for Pierce, the former director, to do something. In any case, as long as Pierce is not seen through the disguised identity for a day, even if Hydra has not been eliminated, he can still do things. Under Pierce's undercover cover, some of Hydra's senior officials were never picked up and eliminated by the captain. These people are hiding, waiting for the opportunity to re-emerge. Now, the opportunity they have been waiting for is coming. This is Pierce's suggestion: find a female Superman and make her the leader. Hydra can re-emerge, stand tall, and have the opportunity to rule the world. The power of the female Superman, coupled with the power that Hydra has secretly developed, must be a strong alliance. This world, after all, is dominated by force, and those who have always been pursued by the captain and others can only hide in the dark. Over the years, the people of Hydra have had enough. No one objected and everyone was willing to accept the female Superman as their leader for a long time. Chapter 26: Injustice. Alright, female Superman, Aquaman, plus the power of Hydra, is enough to fight S.H.I.E.L.D. Well, although Hulk is very strong, as soon as he wakes up, his 6 parents will not recognize him, and he will easily fall for the plan and be taken away. If you only rely on Hulk, the current S.H.I.E.L.D. cannot withstand Kayla and Mara's alliance. Then, S.H.I.E.L.D. will also join 1 or 2 fighting forces. First, it's you, Iron Man Tony. It's time for you to wake up. Second, it's you, Wonder Woman Diana. New city rented here. Tang Feng picked up 2 white stones and put them on the chessboard. S.H.I.E.L.D. has a new force to join, and the Injustice side should also have a new force to join. 5 Injustice is the name Tang Feng gave to Kayla's forces. Without a doubt, he called it 00. It won't be long before Kayla contacts Hydra, and Injustice will be first Lightning Thompson, who will join Injustice, and then Dr. Lizard. 9 The high-level combat power of the Injustice Alliance is still too small. It seems that only 2 people are not enough, so let's join another, Green Goblin. Let him be born early, Tang Feng said, picking up 3 sunspots and putting them on the board. When he finished this move, fate began to have a drastic change. Obadiah's conspiracy Stanny has started and Tony has gone to the Middle East to sell new weapons he has developed. What happened after that is not much different from the plot of the movie. It was still the Moon Hook who was injured by a self-made weapon and trapped. With the help of a doctor, he began to develop a steel battle suit. However, under the influence of Tang Feng, it was a little different after all. After the captain and others joined the search team, Tony was rescued within half a month, and the doctor was not dead. The rescued Tony, after announcing the closure of the arms trade, continued to devote himself to the development of the steel battle suit. With the help of Jarvis and the convenience of his personal laboratory, the development process was accelerated. After half a month, the mark was developed, a generation of steel battle suits. These things of Tony are the experiences of the next month. Let's not talk about it for now. The fate of the rest also began to change. Dr. Connors, due to the persecution of the military, has already thought of doing the experiment himself, and will start tonight. Harry's father, a generation of Green Goblin, has also been ostracized by the shareholders today, has withdrawn from the decision-making level, cannot make decisions, and no one listens to him. In this regard, he is definitely not reconciled, and tonight, he is also ready to start experimenting on his own body. Also today, after school in the afternoon, Lightning Thompson and a generation of Spider-Man met in an abandoned and dilapidated building. Parker, the reason why you changed so much is because you were bitten by a genetically modified spider, right? As soon as Thompson opened his mouth, he asked directly, "That's right. It seems that you were also mutated because you were bitten by a genetically modified spider." The first-generation Spider-Man nodded directly and said, "They both knew each other well, they bumped fists, and they both felt each other's power far beyond ordinary people. So, everyone knows about the mutation and there is no need to hide it." "I guessed it." 35 I didn't expect Osborn Industries' transgenic spiders to be so powerful. Just by giving them a bite, we can mutate and have powers similar to Superman. 99 Thompson nodded first, then sighed. No, you are wrong to think that. Genetics are very complicated. It is impossible to successfully mutate just by being bitten by a genetically modified spider. To be honest, it is a miracle that you and I can successfully mutate. The first-generation Spider-Man shook his head and explained, and suddenly remembered something. He remembered that when he was bitten by a genetically modified spider, Roar was shocked and grabbed his neck. The other two new friends with the same name and surname also behaved like him. Based on this, could it be that they were also bitten? So, did they mutate successfully, or did they fail? He is very concerned about this problem and can't wait to go to them to check it now. "Hey, Parker, did you hear what I said? Do you agree or not?" Thompson's yelling caused a generation of Spider-Man to return to normal. "What did you say?" "I didn't hear it just now," he said apologetically. "HMPH, then I'll say it again. Did you hear me, Zero? Listen, miracle or not, we have all become Superman. With powers far beyond those of ordinary people, are you still willing to live a normal life? I have a plan, follow me. As long as the plan succeeds, we can live a life of rich people. We can play whatever we want with money, and we can hook up with any girl we want with money." Thompson's face was very excited, and he was already imagining a better life in the future. "What's the plan?" A generation of Spider-Man is a little moved, and if he can, he doesn't want to live the hard life of ordinary people. Now that he has the power, he must want to change. "My plan was to rob a bank." Thompson grabbed his shoulders and said in a low voice subconsciously, Rob a bank?" A generation of Spider-Man startled Roar and was surprised. "Yes, rob a bank." "Are you afraid?" "Ha ha ha, what are you afraid of?" "With our current strength, we don't need to be afraid of the police at all. Robbing a bank is an easy task. The only problem is how to hide your identity. So, before we plan to rob a bank, we need to figure out how to avoid revealing our identities." "You say, do you just cover your face with a mask, or cover your head with a hood? Or," when Thomp 4.8 cents spoke with great interest, the Spider-Man generation couldn't stand it anymore, pushed him away, and said seriously, "I won't rob a bank with you, Thompson, although you have been bullying me in school. I know that you are. Listen to me, we have the power, and it should be the same as the female Superman, to be a superhero of justice." After a generation of Spider-Man finished speaking, Thompson sneered and said, "You are too naive. Playing a superhero is a thankless thing. It's not like you don't know about the current situation of the female Superman. I don't want to end up like her one day." 39 Parker, do you really want to do something big with me? After Thompson finished speaking, a fierce light appeared in his eyes. Chapter 27 The Elder's Decision. The first-generation Spider-Man flatly refused. He wanted to live a good life, but not by criminal means. Seeing that a generation of Spider-Man refused to accept, Thompson had the intention to kill. One reason is that he knows his plan, And another reason is the exclusive selfish idea. Thinking about it, Thompson was also bitten by a genetically modified spider, and only the two of them managed to successfully mutate. As long as a generation of Spider-Man was killed, wouldn't he be the only mutant left? And, with a dark and selfish idea, tonight, he will go to Osborn Industries and destroy all the genetically modified spiders. In this way, miracles like his will not happen. In fact, if it weren't for Tang Feng's influence, Thompson would not have been able to successfully mutate. What the truth is, Thompson definitely doesn't know. After thinking about it, he no longer persuades the bank robbery, but finds an excuse to learn from each other and test the power of a generation of Spider-Man. He will actually do it. A generation of Spider-Man didn't know Thompson's mind, naively thought that the bank robbery was over, and nodded. Both of them have just become Transcendent 09, are unfamiliar with their own abilities, and don't know any combat skills. So the scene between the two is ugly, like chickens pecking each other. Thompson relied on the advantage of speed, coupled with the electrical assistance stored in the body, at a very fast speed, kept attacking. He just rushed to the front of a generation of Spider-Man, hit him blow after blow. No skills, no tactics. A generation of Spider-Man with spider telepathy, as well as agile, dodging non-stop. Although he was embarrassed to hide every time, there was no danger. Wow, so dangerous, I almost got hit. Flash, flash again, flash again. 35 Great, you are so fast and can release electricity, really like a human-shaped charger. With your current ability, what is the maximum amount of electricity you can store? Become a Spider-Man of the Spider-Man generation, release his nature, change his words, dodge with emotion, and speak leisurely. Thompson was annoyed to see that the first-generation Spider-Man was not easy to kill, and finally suppressed his killing intent and stopped arguing. Then, he left unhappily. The first-generation Spider-Man looked at the back of Thompson's departure and smacked his mouth. He hadn't said enough. After the discussion, the first-generation Spider-Man will become familiar with his ability and will soon use spider webs to swing. However, this process will definitely require one or two violent collisions. With this kind of deep lesson, he will learn faster. Not only the first Spider-Man, but the other two Spider-Men are also becoming familiar with his ability. After the two of them initially became familiar with ability, they came up with the idea of making a spiderweb device because his ability was related to genetically modified spiders. Because he was familiar with ability, it got dark before he knew it, and he had missed the time to go home for dinner. Looking at the dark sky, a generation of Spider-Man yelled badly and hurried back home. On the way home, a flyer floated in front of his eyes. The flyer said the championship match was written on it, and the prize money attracted his attention. He quickly responded, grabbed it with one hand, grabbed the flyer, and took a closer look, feeling an impulse in his heart. With my current strength, I can easily beat any boxing champion. With this bonus, I don't need my uncle to pay for a used car for me, I can pay for it myself. 35 Is it 3 days from now? A generation of Spider-Man muttered to himself, put away the flyer, and made a decision. A generation of Spider-Man's uncle? Save or not save? Save him. 35 Above a building, Tang Feng looked at the figure running home, touched his chin and said, for Tang Feng, it doesn't matter whether he is saved or not, as long as it is beneficial. In terms of his original destiny, Bo should have died. If Tang Feng were to rescue him, his destiny would change, and it would also generate resources, allowing him to speed up the progress of understanding his destiny. Although it is not much, it can only be regarded as a snack before meals, but no matter how many mosquitoes there are, it is still meat. Tang Feng is not a picky eater. Jingle, jingle. At this moment, Tang Feng's cell phone rang, and it was Gwen who called. Are you here yet? I'm here too. I've seen you, and you'll see me when you turn around, Tang Feng said. The figure standing above the building disappeared. The next moment he appeared behind Gwen. When he turned around, he smiled and waved. Gwen waved happily and ran over. The people around were not surprised by Tang Feng's sudden appearance. In their opinion, Tang Feng had always been there. They looked at the couple happily hugging each other, and then left with a smile. "Are you going back tonight?" "Yes, so that my dad doesn't get suspicious. I have to go back. However, when you go to my house and meet my dad, he won't care about our matters anymore." "Well, then let's go to your house this Saturday." Tang Feng shrugged, indifferent, completely ignoring the matter of visiting his father-in-law. "Really?" Gwen was shocked. They already belonged to Tang Feng's people. She definitely wanted Tang Feng to meet her family earlier and announce the relationship. "Definitely, why lie to you?" Tang Feng squeezed Gwen's pretty nose with his hand, raised his mouth, and said, "For you, let alone meeting your family, I am willing to go to hell." Hell, with his current strength, he really wants to go there. It is no different from going out. "Don't say things like that, I don't want you to go to hell." Gwen had no idea. She was shocked. "Okay, I won't say it." 35 You're very moved by my approach, right? Is there any reward, for example? Tang Feng leaned into Gwen's ear with a smile and made a few small requests in a low voice. Gwen blushed and gave him a white look, but he didn't object. The trajectory of fate has changed significantly again. "God of fate, how much do you want to influence this world before you give up?" The Himalayas, Kamartaj, Sorcerer Supreme looked worried. He could borrow the power of the time gem to see the future of this world, and he saw that many people's futures had changed. He knew that this change was influenced by the God of Fate. In order to prevent the God of Fate from affecting the birth of the next generation of Sorcerer Supreme, I can only guide the successor first. Although he didn't want to change things in the future, the elder had no other choice. Signed to himself, he already had a helpless decision in his heart. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.